right? That's just 40p per wing. A serious-sized bucket for a seriously small price. The 20 hot wings bucket deal for just $7.99. Do the deal until the 9th of June, only at KFC.
Available until the 9th of June 2024, subject to availability. Participating restaurants only. See website for full T's and C's.
Whoa there. Victoria's had a Friday night to remember. But now she's outside in the pouring rain and...
You are joking. I've got no data. How are we going to get home?
But then she remembers she's with EE.
Yes, Uber still works.
So then she...
Uber's for me, guys. Can we get a kebab?
Use essential apps like Uber and WhatsApp even when you run out of data. Search EE Mobile.
Stay connected at 0.5 megabits per second. Excludes no frills plans. Terms apply.
The Emirates FA Cup on talkSPORT with Carling. We're talking last-minute thrillers and epic giant killers. A non-league fairy tale. Cup football's holy grail. Goal-scoring Goliaths. Underdog pluck. We're talking game-changing football. We're talking the Emirates FA Cup. From Southampton to Sunderland, get your mates together with Carling for the football competition where anything can happen. The Emirates FA Cup live on talkSPORT with Carling, the official beer partner of the Emirates FA Cup and the Adobe Women's FA Cup. 18 plus, please drink responsibly. talkSPORT News.
With the 10:30 headlines, I'm Tom Clayton. Good morning. Bitterly disappointing. That's how the Prime Minister describes the Conservatives' results in the local elections. Rishi Sunak wants the party to come together after a poor showing last week. He also reckons there'll be a hung parliament come the general election, a thought that's been backed by the Health Minister, Maria Caulfield.
Labour, as it stands, what were to have a lead, as the poll suggests, of 7 to 9 points, it would be towards a hung parliament. The experts in polling are saying that, and they would require those smaller parties to prop them up.
Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has blamed Hamas for ceasefire talks breaking down. Civilians are now being evacuated from the southern Gaza city of Rafah as Israel's military say they'll go ahead with planned action. John Swinney's path to lead the SNP is now clear as opposing candidate Graham McCormick pulls out of the race. It means Mr Swinney is now the only candidate to succeed the outgoing Hamza Youssef. £14 million worth of cocaine has been found in the back of a van in a pub car park. 4 men have been arrested. 500 kilograms of the stuff was discovered at the Stag's Head Inn in Lely in East Yorkshire. And Heineken say it's reopening 62 pubs that have been closed in recent years. They're investing £39 million into existing venues too, hoping to create more than 1,000 jobs.
talkSPORT with Bostik. If you need a professional grade sealant with high mold resistance, easy tooling and minimal shrinkage, choose Bostik Pro Sealants.
talkSPORT understands that Julian Lopetegui is edging closer to agreeing terms at West Ham, and referee Jared Gillett will wear a ref cam tonight during Palace's match with Manchester United. If you can't wait for the footage to come out, listen to the match live on talkSPORT from 7.
Levitate above the humdrum. Game day.
On talkSPORT and talkSPORT 2.
Get off the bench for another high-energy weekend of unrestricted live football. Stimulate your senses with a heavy-duty payload of thrilling weekend football. Game day this Saturday.
And we've got something special for you
On talkSPORT and talkSPORT 2.
Good morning, Sam and Face, Scott Minto and Alex Crook through till 1 o'clock today. Jimmy Simon off today, back tomorrow. Manchester City roll on in their pursuit of a fourth successive league title. They demolished Wolves, didn't they, on Saturday? No, didn't need a helping hand either, but got one from the referee and the VAR in the first 15 minutes of that game. It was downhill for Wolves after that. Wolves who had quite a few young players in that squad after themselves suffering with a few injuries. But there was never a moment, I think, from the moment that you turned the TV on at 5:30 on Saturday, when you sat down to watch that game, where you thought, well, you never know.
No, and
it was inevitable.
And that's the strength of it. I mean, this was not going to be the weekend where, you know, City would drop the points. Look, you have to say, Wolves have been superb in what Gary O'Neill's done, but with the injuries they've had, with the golfing class between the two, I think City just showed, again, not just in terms of winning the 3 points, but again where they are mentally. You know, clearly they're multiple winners. What they've done is nothing short of sensational. You know what I think about Pep Guardiola as well. I do. I love that guy.
You worship at the church of Guardiola.
Almost. Almost. I can see how it must be difficult for you guys. Post-match can be very prickly, even if they win. But I just think he's a genius. And I think what he's doing here at this particular moment is dominating English football. To be fair, this happened before with Liverpool in the late 70s, early 80s.
Not to this extent.
And so Alex, yeah, well, 7 titles in 9 years.
Yeah, but if they win 4 in a row, then no one's ever done that.
No one's ever done that. And that's why I actually kind of want to see history in the making. I want to be able.
Not turned off by it in any way, shape or form.
No.
I mean, Manchester City, when they get to the end of the season, they basically just steamroll everyone. They've scored 24 goals in their last 6 games since the draw against Arsenal. Last season, they went on a 16-match unbeaten run, winning 14 times to take the title before they lost at Brentford on the final day. The year before that, they won 23 times in a run of 1 defeat in 28. The season before that, they won 17 times in a 19-match unbeaten sequence. The problem here is we can talk all you like, and I think Perry Groves mentioned it on the Premier League All Access last night about Arsenal running them close, Liverpool running them close. It doesn't matter if you run them close. The fact is, you don't beat them, they don't falter, they always get over the line. And does that lose a little bit of romance? Does that actually sort of get to the point where you can become numb to the brilliance? Because they are brilliant, right? They are spectacular. They are a wonderful team. But do you get just a little bit too used to it?
Yeah, I think complacency does set in, not just from neutral observers, but probably from Man City fans as well. And I've experienced this firsthand when Manchester United was so dominant. You turn up at games almost expecting to win. There's an argument to say the atmosphere at Old Trafford has improved as United have got worse, because suddenly when you come up against the likes of Liverpool and City, you're the underdog, and the players have to raise their game, and so do the fans. I think
that's because you're in the prawn sandwich brigade all the time. That's why.
I think it is all a bit robotic and a bit methodical when it comes to Man City. Personally, and this is not because of my allegiances to United, I'd rather watch Arsenal, because I think there is a bit more jeopardy. You're not entirely convinced they're going to win every week, whereas I think you are when it comes to Manchester City. And Perry Groves was clutching at straws when we recorded the podcast. He still thinks there's a draw somewhere, to quote him. I can't see it. They go to Fulham at the weekend live on talkSPORT. Fulham, I'm not saying on the beach, but they basically turned up in flip-flops and Bermuda shorts last weekend. You've got West Ham in no form at all at this moment in time, and you've got Tottenham who've fallen off a cliff as well. They're going to win every game. It will probably go to the last day of the season because United aren't good enough to beat Arsenal on Sunday. But I think we know where the title is going.
I don't know why we can't just appreciate absolute brilliance at its very best.
We do appreciate it, but we get
there's no normalising. No, but there's no not just.
You can appreciate
enjoy it
3 times,
right,
maybe 4 times.
But you're a fully signed up member of the Guardiola cult.
Yeah, but well,
you think he's the best manager the Premier League's ever seen?
No. Well, that's an argument. The Premier League legend of a manager will always be Sir Alex Ferguson, because Pep won't be.
Yeah, but he's very close. He's a very close number 2 or 3.
I personally feel that Pep Guardiola is one of the very best in the history of the game. And for me, what he's done in different countries. Look, I did Spanish football.
He's a genius, right? He's a genius, but he's also convinced everybody. He's convinced us all that we all have to play like him. So he goes around. He says to Roberto De Zerbi, "Right, fella, you're brilliant. You are fantastic. Keep playing out from the back like that. You know, we'll come down on Thursday night. You play out from the back. It looks fantastic. I mean, we'll pinch it, score 4 goals in the first half, and sweep you aside. But no, you're doing great."
Sam, we did that game, didn't we? And we were saying in commentary,
if they play that way, if everyone plays the same way as him, he's got the better players, and they will sweep everyone aside.
But that's the legacy that he brought to this country before he even arrived. Again, you know, you look back at that Barcelona team that he had, and people say, no, it's only Messi and Xavi and Iniesta, that's why he's done it. Well, he has created that Barcelona team in Manchester City without Lionel Messi.
Absolutely.
It's absolute brilliance. So, you know, I see games in different leagues, in Championship, League 1, League 2. I see clearly coaches asking 6'4", head it, kick it, centre half, being asked to pivot on the ball, centre midfielders who are not used to having their back to play, full-backs going into midfield, and I'm like, wow. What the influence of this guy has done is absolutely sensational. And even at Premier League level, these players are not good enough, which is why he needs the elite of the elite to play football in its purest form. De Zerbi's trying to be even purer, but you can't do that. Again, I'll go back to Ange. You have to give your players a chance. And if they're not quite capable of that, whatever your philosophy is, you need to just dilute that a little bit to give your players a chance against the very best.
It's amazing that we've got into a situation where he's developed football and he's educated everybody that it's much better. And we all agree, he is fantastic. But it isn't the only way to play.
Of course not.
And sometimes you need an outlier to come along and put a spanner in the works.
Well, like Arsenal, with Mikel Arteta, who's got number 2 for so long.
Yeah, well, exactly. He's not exactly changing. He's not
that's what I'm saying.
He's not putting a spanner in the works, is he? He's just doing it, but he can't do it as well because they've got better players. Because, as this texter says here, Sam, as great as Pep is, this is the club that have had the pick of any top player in Europe for years now. They can pay the highest wage, hence why they are the only destinations for Haaland, Vardy, Grealish, etc. Pep coaches them to be robotic, but people want change. They want to see something different because it is boring. Sam, if Arsenal don't win the league, I think they would have lost it at the Etihad. Coming to City and playing for a draw when you want to win the league.
I agree with that.
Isn't good enough. Something you said last night.
Against Villa,
every team that has beat City to the league in the last 10 years or so won at the Etihad. Leicester, Chelsea, Liverpool, winning there sends a signal that would have killed City. Hanging on for a draw, cementing our belief that we are a better team than them.
And if you remember, there was a heated debate immediately after that game. I was with Adrian Durham at the Etihad. Perry was sat watching from behind his hands here in the studio, and Adrian was making the point that it was a missed opportunity for Arsenal. City had a couple of key injuries that day, if you remember, and Arsenal just played far too cautiously. I think they had a golden opportunity to go there, get that statement victory, and put the championship race in their own hands. And I think they'll regret it.
I
didn't try harder than me.
If you watch it again, the first 20 minutes they tried, and they realised
good.
Then they realised
they weren't at their best.
Absolutely. They realised they were up against a boxer who was better than them. They're going to try and take it to points at the end of the 12th round. That's exactly what it is.
Should they have been braver?
The Villa game,
if they'd been braver, they would have
been opened up. They would have been opened up. City was still by far and away the better side now. Again, it was almost like not rope-a-dope, but I'm just hanging on in here.
But I think he's right. It sends a message. It sends a psychological message to City. You know,
of course it
does. They know that you're better than them.
But
they know.
But it's easier said than done to go to the best team of the last few years. Again, Sam, you alluded to it. It's not been done before. Even that Liverpool side, even the Fergie United sides, who had 2 goes at it, were not able to win 4 in the spin. To do this mentally, not just physically and tactically, but mentally, day after day. We are seeing...
But do you want to go and watch it?
Yes.
Have you bought a ticket to go and see that?
No, I haven't bought a ticket. No, I'm too busy working and then being with the kids when I'm not working. But my point is, we are seeing history in the making. We are seeing a genius at work in the way that you can say the same about Sir Alex Ferguson. The moment he leaves Manchester City is the moment the others get a chance. Now,
you can't sit there and go, he's absolutely fantastic, he's changed football, but God, we can't wait for him to leave so it's more competitive.
I'm not saying that. That's not what I'm saying. What I am saying is that I believe, and you know, I've worked with you on the Premier League All Access podcast all season, and I've not changed my mind on City from the very beginning, and even when they were 3 points behind both Liverpool and Arsenal, I stuck with City. I still believe City are going to win this year. I think Arsenal win it next year. I think Arsenal get stronger and stronger and stronger, and City will not win 5 on the spin. It's just an almost impossible thing to do in the Premier League.
And Paul says he's ruined football. He's put a midfielder in every position, even in goal. Ruined the art of a goalkeeper. Ruined the art of a number 9. Ruined the crossing. Ruined headers. He's just pass. Watching Watford and Forest and Hull pass from the keeper to the centre half. It's just dull. Look forward to him leaving. And a new style. Bring back 4-4-2. Right, we'll come back in just a moment. Might continue that. We've got quite a few texts on that. Chelsea done well yesterday. 1-5-0. Wonder if the pendulum has swung in Pochettino's favour. You're listening to White and Jordan on talkSPORT with Selco Builders Warehouse. Check out this month's real deals at selcobw.com.
White and Jordan on talkSPORT with Selco Builders Warehouse. Order online for free delivery at selcobw.com.
It's time to stop spinning. Feel those dials turn down and off. So when the grid is busy, relying on fossil fuels, you're a washing machine, drifting into a power nap. Want help shifting your energy to greener times? OVO's Alexa skill can help. Just say, Alexa, open OVO Power Nap.
Hey, you looking for car parts at unbelievable prices? Here at You Pull It, the region's pull your own parts breakers yard, we've got them in the thousands. Headlamps at 28 quid, alloys 30 and batteries 15. A whole engine for just £154. With over 3,000 cars on the ground and new in every day, We've got the parts you need at prices you won't believe. Plus, we also buy scrap cars. You pull, you save. YouPullIt.co.uk. Prices may vary. Terms and conditions apply.
Your internet. Full terms apply.
The future of eco-friendly gardening and landscaping is here. Introducing the Ego Pro X range of battery-powered outdoor power equipment. A super tough, super powerful range for the hard-working professionals, the landscapers, the groundsmen, and the gardeners who demand the best. Say goodbye to the noise, the fuss, and the fumes of petrol, and embrace a greener, cleaner solution. The Ego Power Plus Pro X range. Power beyond belief. Search Ego Pro X today.
Meet Sasha, a woman with impeccable style. Even the most fashionable amongst us can face fashion frustration.
So many clothes, but nothing to wear.
By selling something on eBay, there's still hope for Sasha.
Nice.
Sell the clothes you don't wear to buy the ones you will.
Birthday fit sorted.
It's now free to sell your pre-owned clothes on eBay, so you'll never have nothing to wear again. Conditions apply.
With so many holiday homes on Booking.com, there are so many different me's I could be. I could book a beach house in Cornwall and be relaxed me. I could book an apartment in Paris for cultured me. I could book a villa in Tuscany and be foodie me. Needs a holiday me loves all those me's. Book whoever you want to be. Booking.com. Booking.yeah.
Want to build the bet you want in seconds? With Unibet's Bet Builder, you're on. Add shots, corners, cards, and more. And increase your odds with Bet Builder Raptors, combining bet builders across multiple games and sports. Place a £10 bet builder on tonight's game to grab a £5 bet builder free bet. Unibet, you're on. 18 plus, begambleaware.org, pre-match only, max stake £10 minimum, combined odds of 4 to 1 and 3 selections, T's and C's apply.
talkSPORT Traffic and Travel with My Dear Cooling and Heating. Find an easier route to win air source heat pump projects with My Dear. Win more, earn faster. That's the My Dear idea.
The M1 in West Yorkshire is closed northbound at junction 40 near Wakefield after an accident. Diversions are often back on by the slip roads, causing queues. In Staffordshire, the A38 is closed northbound where cars overturned between Clay Mills and the A50 at Twozer Island, causing delays. West Sussex, the A23 is partly blocked northbound where the cars overturned between Flag Cross and junction 11 at the M23 at East Pottage, causing queues. And in East Sussex, the A21 is closed each way at Johns Cross after an accident. That's the latest. I'm Russell Holding.
League 2 playoff semi-final.
Lovely bit of football. Crawley Town versus MK Dons.
Coverage from 2:30. Kick-off 3 p.m.
Brings it down, sweeps it home.
Monday afternoon.
No one else brings you more.
On talkSPORT 2. Ultimate Football Radio.
Guys, don't be ridiculous. Drawing at City is not a bad result. You're forgetting Arsenal took 4 points from City this year. They've lost the league because they dropped points against Fulham, Aston Villa, Chelsea, and Spurs. By the way, they haven't lost it yet. There's still time to go. Sam, this playing out from the back. How many teams have lost games because of it? It's madness. You may as well give the opposition a goal start. Sam, to say City haven't had injuries is revisionism. Haaland, De Bruyne, Stones, Doku, all with extended absences. Ederson missed a month, Grealish in, and now Lewis, Bob, Ortega, Rodri and Alvarez, the only senior players, had to miss no matches through injuries or illness. That's true. I just don't think they've had as many injuries, and their squad is deeper, so they can carry more injuries than other teams. So I think that basically, you're right, you're absolutely right. The Haaland, De Bruyne in particular, is what's really impressive is De Bruyne was out for so long and still has more assists than any other Premier League player this season. It's absolutely outstanding.
I think the other point to make about City, though, is they can afford to spend big money on a player who doesn't work out, and there's not many clubs, even at the top end of the Premier League, who can pay the type of money they did on Calvin Phillips, for example, and just write that off. We've seen it a little bit with Mateus Nunes this year as well. He's not really made any impact. If a club like Manchester United paid £50 million for a player,
he's got a place.
He's got a bit of success.
Like Anthony. City have scored 2 goals against Spurs in the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium in the last 5 years. It's a bogey match, says Colin in Surrey. Morning, guys. Pep is the best manager to have ever lived, to dominate La Liga with Barcelona, a side that already had the likes of Messi, Xavi and Iniesta. That was genius. To follow that up with the biggest team in Germany, who cherry-picked the best players in the league from their opponents, was another masterstroke. Didn't know this was going to be sarcastic when I started reading it. As for the work Pep has done at City, well, it's just credible, isn't it? You would have thought that joining a team with unlimited resources and building the most expensive squad in football history would put you in a position of dominance. I certainly didn't see that coming. If I were to give Pep United out of 100 on what he's achieved with Manchester City, I would give him 115 out of 100.
Well, let's put him in at United and see if he can make a player out of Anthony. Then we'll know he's a genius.
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, look, United have spent as much as City over the last decade, so I mean, look at the difference between the two. In terms of Barcelona, we were just having that discussion when he took over. They hadn't won for 2 years at anything, and that was massive. He put Lionel Messi as a false nine, where people weren't talking about false nines. Frank Rijkaard didn't have the courage to do it, and absolutely nailed the
He
whole
won all those
Europe.
European Cups at Bayern as well.
No. Well, listen, he came in after the treble. Karl-Heinz Rummenigge even admitted afterwards that he's improved by Munich, even though he didn't win a Champions League. And Philipp Lahm, the World Cup winning
they
captain.
loved him in Munich, right?
Philipp Lahm.
I'm being facetious.
Philipp Lahm, the World Cup winning captain, said, I am not going to be a manager because I've seen how Pep Guardiola does it and I can't go to those standards. So
I went to Munich with Manchester City last year? And literally, honestly, it was like the red carpet everywhere he went. All the journalists in the press conference prior to the game were just like, eulogizing, is it nice to be back? Oh, it's so great to see you. Everyone was obviously, it helps that he speaks German as well, which is great because he's brilliant at that.
Well, he learnt it in his sabbatical, didn't he?
Yeah, he did it on purpose, which is great.
Was he pleased to see them? Because he doesn't particularly love journalists, does he? And post-match interviewers.
Depends which ones it is.
Is there a German version of Sam Matterface?
I actually, do you know what, recently we've had some brilliant discussions.
He says the same.
Yeah, you haven't spoken to him, so don't give me all that.
I spoke to him quite a bit this season, actually.
Have you? Yeah.
He's been fine with me.
Yeah, because you only ever ask him one question, that's why.
Again, just the final one on that last one. I've said what I said about Barcelona, Bayern Munich. In terms of Manchester City, just look at Chelsea and Manchester United. Money spent, look where they are.
Yeah, and that's the key thing.
They spent it well, you can't argue with that.
The other thing about Manchester City is this is not just Pep Guardiola, and Pep Guardiola is terrific, but Manchester City from top to bottom is a well-run football club. It's a juggernaut football club. They have, yes, an owner with limitless cash. They also have a brilliant chief executive. They have a brilliant director of football who knows what Pep Guardiola needs to build a team that can dominate English football, to compete late into European fixtures. The only issue is that if they keep winning year after year, week after week, all of a sudden the best league in the world tag, which we have attached to the Premier League, because it is, it's the most competitive. It has been the most competitive. No longer is the most competitive league in the world.
It's also down to others to step up. I do concede that the amount of money's been spent, so they can get rid of now the likes of Zinchenko and Jesus, and we'll see what happens in terms of next season. And that's where I go. For other clubs, I'd say, Pep, who don't you want? I'm quite happy to stay your castle, and it would make our team a lot better. But still, you have to blend it all together, and to get a De Bruyne, to get a Haaland, to get a Silva, to get a Foden, to get them all.
They can let Cole Palmer leave.
Well, exactly, but my point is to get them all working in the way they work. Forget how good they are, how much they work, how good they track back. Again, I go back to United and look at the players that don't track back there. He gets them absolutely perfect in every way.
They all actually work hard and do their job, but that also comes, and this circles back round to the David Moyes issue that you've had, where you've got no clarity and you can tell that the ownership don't have faith in him, is that that Pep Guardiola runs Manchester City.
Absolutely.
He is in charge. So if you don't do the things he asks you to do, you're finished. It's over.
And he's a little bit old school in that respect. That isn't really the way that modern football is going, and I think he's testimony to the fact that actually a manager being in control of the football club is not a bad thing. I can't agree with Scott about Arsenal. I think if they don't win it this year, that they're going to finish on 89 points and probably not win the title. If they don't win it this year, I don't see how they bridge that gap next season, because City on the back of a treble, I think there was at the start of the season a little bit of a hangover from that. They obviously lost key players. They didn't really replace Gundogan in the summer.
They always start badly.
Yeah, Man City this year,
but badly, in inverted commas.
They only win 9 of 10.
Yeah.
But this is not the best version of Man City that we've seen. The Man City of last season were better. And Arsenal have spent a lot of money on Declan Rice. They spent a lot of money on Kai Havertz. And they're still not going to win the league.
Crookie, in my opinion, we'll see. But in my opinion, they're bridging the gap. And you're right, I don't think they're quite as good as they were last season. But that's because this is the 4th time that they're trying to win the title. And again, the mental side of things, what people don't really understand, to go day after day, the trainings, the intensity, it is hard work mentally as well as physically. And that's where I think Arsenal, if they don't win the title, mentally will be bang up for it even more. City will be off it a little bit more, and that's where the gap is.
Lovely to have so many people get involved on a beautiful bank holiday Monday. If you're out at the beach or you're sitting down by the river, you're sunning yourself because the weather is so great and you're listening to the radio. 81089 on the text. You can call us 0371722 3344. There's so much to get to in the next hour of the programme. We basically jumped around. We had a list of things we needed to talk about, and then we just sort of ripped it up and started with West Ham, and then we've sort of gone off on a tangent.
Glad the producer spent all night putting their money all together on a bank holiday Sunday.
So instead, what we will do is we'll go back to our list of topics and ask the question about Mark Clattenburg and his involvement with Nottingham Forest. That's coming next.
Write and tune in on talkSPORT with Selco. Register for your trade card online at selcobw.com or in one of our branches.
It's time to stop spinning. Feel those dials turn down and off. So when the grid is busy, relying on fossil fuels, you're a washing machine, drifting into a power nap. Want help shifting your energy to greener times? OVO's Alexa skill can help. Just say, Alexa, open OVO Power Nap.
Hey, you looking for car parts at unbelievable prices? Here at You Pull It, the region's pull your own parts breakers yard, we've got them in the thousands. Headlamps at 28 quid, alloys 30 and batteries 15. A whole engine for just £154. With over 3,000 cars on the ground and new in every day, we've got the parts you need at prices you won't believe. Plus, we also buy scrap cars. You pull, you save. YouPullIt.co.uk. Prices may vary, terms and conditions apply.
You can even get a 10-year warranty. If your business installs split systems, VRF, chillers or heat pumps, Midea, a worldwide air treatment brand and global sponsor of Manchester City, is looking to make you our next MyPro signing. Win more, earn faster. That's the Midea idea. Midea.
At BetMGM, we know how to put on a show. That's why they got me, Chris Rock, to tell you about BetMGM's golden offers. Sign up to BetMGM, bet £10, and get £40 in free bets. We're making every game an occasion. Get ready for the golden era in sports betting. BetMGM. It's showtime.
New customers only. Wagering requirements and conditions apply. 18 plus. Please gamble responsibly.
TUI presents the relaxing escape. Sunrise, yoga, breakfast on a white sand tropical beach, a dip in your swim-up suite, a little read on your daybed, a cooking class, sure, massage, bliss. Lose all track of time. Your next relaxing escape sorted. Book online on the app or in store. TUI. Live happy. All protected.
Don't know where to start your next paint project? At Wix, find all the inspiration and help you'll need. Price Dulux Standard 2.5 litre coloured emulsion was £21, now 15. Terms apply.
They're the ultimate playmakers.
That was outstanding.
The unstoppable game changers.
Absolutely extraordinary.
The icons, talisman and stone cold legends who have earned their place in Nissan's all-star lineup.
We've just seen exceptional.
This afternoon from 1, join Hawksby and Jacobs as they rate and debate the weekend's greatest performers.
Sensational.
The all-star lineup on talkSPORT with Nissan Vans. Accelerate your business with Nissan's all-star van lineup.
On 1089 and 1053 medium wave. Online, on your mobile, on the app, and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT. Talk Sport.
Come to Lookers. Buy or sell your vehicle the simple way. Visit lookers.co.uk.
With your 11 o'clock headlines, I'm Tom Clayton. Good morning. It's talkSPORT's understanding that West Ham are edging closer to an agreement with Julian Lopetegui to succeed David Moyes, but the former Hammer Scott Minto is not convinced he's what the fans are looking for.
If you look at Lopetegui, very well organised, very well structured, but he's not the anti-David Moyes in terms of what the fans are looking for.
It's still yet to be confirmed if Moyes will leave West Ham this summer. We also understand Jadon Sancho has no desire to return to Manchester United, even if Erik ten Hag is sacked. Dortmund are keen to keep the forward on loan for another season. Keep up to date with all the latest on talkSPORT.com. Referee Jared Gillett will wear a ref cam during Crystal Palace's match with Manchester United tonight. He's filming for a programme that highlights match officials. You can hear the match live on talkSPORT from 7 p.m. After a weekend of celebrations, the dust is settling at Portman Road. Their trophy parade through the town centre starts at the ground in around an hour's time. Connor Chaplin joined us this morning and couldn't speak highly enough of his manager, Kieran McKenna.
So much more than attention to detail and things like that. Probably first and foremost, just a really good human, and his core values are incredible, and ones that I've learned a lot from as well.
And what's next for Lando Norris after winning his first Grand Prix?
I think there's an opportunity to win. He's had a number of seconds. There's an opportunity to win more this year, 1 or 2 races. And next year they've really got to aim for the championship, I think.
His father Adam Norris there speaking to us this morning. Lando beat Max Verstappen's victory in last night's Miami Grand Prix.
talkSPORT News.
Labour say it's time for Rishi Sunak to call a general election, and Palestinian civilians are being told to leave the southern Gaza city of Rafah as Israel plans military action. I'll have more at 30:30.
talkSPORT weather with QuickFit. With over 600 centres across the UK, most of which open 7 days a week, we're here for every journey. QuickFit. Drive away happy every time.
Sunshine and heavy showers throughout much of the day. Heavier and persistent rain moving northwards from the south coast.
9 and 1053 medium wave on DAB, online and on your smart speaker. Sam Matterface on talkSPORT.
talkSPORT on a bank holiday Monday. Not the greatest bank holiday in terms of weather. I mean, it might be where you are, up and down the country. Yesterday it looked pretty good in Manchester. I was in Brighton. It started off nice, and then it got a bit grotty. And today, looking at the 17th floor of the news building, it looks like Gotham. It's horrid out there, isn't it?
We've had some shocking weather the last few months, haven't we? But I think tomorrow it's going to be nice.
All right, Michael Fish. Tonight, the referee is going to wear a video camera for the first time in a Premier League game. A Monday evening's match between Crystal Palace and Manchester United is live on talkSPORT. Jared Gillett, the referee, is going to use a head-mounted device called RefCam. It's going to be used for a one-off programme providing insight into officiating in the Premier League. The Bundesliga have already done this. They did it in February for a similar sort of thing. And Rob Jones wore a camera in the summer series, I think, last year as well. This is the first time we do it. I mean, the first thing I thought when I read the press release this morning was head-mounted camera. It's going to be like a GoPro on his head or whatever, or is it just be like a little camera?
Well, they've used it in racing. ITV put cameras on the caps of jockeys, and some of the footage is extraordinary. So
yeah,
interesting.
It's actually extraordinary to watch a ball from a ref's perspective.
It's lucky that Darren Ambrose isn't playing, because you remember when we mic'd him up during a charity game?
We did a charity game, Sunday session live from a charity game. We mic'd him up. He played. And we went to him as he
gave the ball away.
Gave the ball away, and then started swearing.
Because Perry Groves accused him of misplacing a pass.
It's a difficult thing to do. I mean, you don't get plays. But is this actually to help the game, or is it just for pure entertainment?
I think it's. I mean, the idea was that when they agreed to do these trials in some of the lower leagues in sort of the Sunday football, it was to reduce the amount of abuse that officials got at that level. I think this is just entertainment to promote what an official does. And probably gives a little bit more insight as to how hard it is to be a Premier League.
There's extra pressure though. You know, a big game in the Premier League, the referee wearing a camera.
Not really, because I suppose everything they do now is recorded anyway.
Yeah, I don't see a problem with that. And if it highlights or it sort of tries to help the grassroots and all the problems the referees have there, then it's a good thing in that sense.
Well, I mean, talking of helping referees, 77 days, 11 games, and quite a few controversies, probably more than their supporters would care to remember. Mark Clattenburg has left Nottingham Forest. He stepped down from his role last week, saying his position had become more of a hindrance than a help to the club. He began working with Forest in February. He'd been involved in a high-profile incident following the defeat in Liverpool in March, publicly criticised referee Paul Tierney after Darwin Núñez scored a late winner. Following Forest's statement after the Everton game, where they were denied 3 penalties, ex-Manchester United defender Gary Neville on Sky called on him to quit. They now have done that. You remember that after that game against Everton, Nuno Espirito Santo and Nico Williams were all charged with misconduct. I mean, they don't really need a refereeing consultant, they need a PR consultant, don't they?
Yeah, they've had some disasters on that front, not least the tweet they put out after that game when they claimed that 3 big penalty calls went against them, when in actual fact it was just a 1 really at the end, when they should have had a penalty against Everton. The whole Clattenburg thing, I think, was always going to end this way. I think they got seduced by him. They thought maybe he could be the one to come out and give the club's viewpoint without any fear of fines or touchline bans, but it hasn't worked. They're going to stay up, they're going to limp to the finish line, I think, Forest, but I'm not sure they've made too many friends along the way.
What I didn't understand was is if you employ Mark Clattenburg to do this job, let him do it. Don't hack your Twitter account, give it to the owner and let him tweet. Don't allow the manager to come out and start having a go at everyone and the players to do the same thing either, because I thought it was about insulating the players and the managers from getting themselves in trouble. I don't know, maybe the idea might work at a different club, but this doesn't seem to be a place where it is going to thrive.
I think you've hit the nail on the head there. You know, whatever Marinakis wants to do, or, you know, while he's calm and in the calm moment, when things like that happen, he takes over. And I don't think anyone can or is able to question him. You know, that tweet came from him clearly, of what was a very, you know, combustible owner that, you know, feels like actually it's not just about this particular game, but there's a lot of perceived decisions that have gone against Forest all season. And
I'm a little bit sorry for the people that work there, actually, the people in the press office and the PR office, because, you know, they'll do their best to sort of try and cool down the fires when things start to kick off. But actually, if the owner says, I want to tweet this out, I want to say this, you've got no choice.
If the owner says jump, they say how high. The bottom line, that's how it is there. And, you know, again, you know, he's come from Greek football, where it's probably a lot, I wouldn't say more passionate, but done in different ways. Maybe things go on behind the scenes that just don't go on in English football. For him to transfer that to English football, I think is completely wrong. And we do need to be careful about the integrity of the officials. But I also do think there's been a lot of bad decisions. And look, I'm actually quite for the referees and officials and VAR to a point as well. It should be less is more, rather than VAR getting involved too much.
Right, wasn't he? In that Mark Clattenburg could not stand there and allow people to question the officials' integrity, because he, you know, Mark was part of that fraternity. Mark's part of that brotherhood. You know, the idea that you quit. I mean, you can say that this is not a very good decision. You can say that actually this guy isn't good at his job. But to say that question the integrity of another official by pointing to the club that they support, Gary was right. He had to walk away at that moment.
It must have been quite an uncomfortable position for him in the first place, because, yeah, obviously when you start questioning someone's integrity, and there's a fine line, isn't there? You're basically accusing him of being a cheat, which clearly wasn't the case. But either way, his role was to come out and criticise his mates. You know, as you say, he used to be one of the band of brothers when it comes to refereeing. He clearly hasn't got too many scruples. The fact he took the job in the first place.
Maybe they thought his relationship with Howard Webb, they could somehow manipulate something. But clearly that was never going to be the case. And I've heard from someone who said to me that he's left because things are starting to sour for him going forward in terms of working for UEFA and FIFA as well. So maybe it was a selfish point for him.
I don't think he'll be invited on any refs' nights out in the future, will he?
Do refs have big nights out? Do you reckon they'll get together?
You know they do.
I do.
First-hand experience.
Producer Joe, he's the referee
on one. And yes, the producer Joe, who has just got himself kitted out with a ref cam head thing that he's going to walk around with from now on. Very excited about that. By the way, my mate Will says to me it's absolutely scorchio in Manchester. Right.
It won't be by the time you get back.
I'm getting back on Wednesday. It won't be.
It'll be raining.
Sure. We talked about the integrity of the referees. One of the big problems I've got with this season, I don't know if you feel the same, is the fact that we sit here today not really knowing whether or not Burnley are already relegated, whether Luton are already relegated, because they might be. Because if the independent panel have decided that Nottingham Forest are going to have their points back, then it could be that the rest of the season for those clubs is a bit of a waste of time, because they've already been relegated. Why are we waiting to the last days of the season? How much damage does it do to the image of the Premier League?
I think it's
waiting
a lot of damage
for clarity over who's got what points.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, this is the Premier League, and we all try to say this is the best league in the world, when they need to act like it as well. You know, top ends I think is exciting, and I think fair play for Arsenal for doing what they've done so far against Manchester City. But in terms of relegation, you know, this is just as important, if not more important, in terms of the future of football clubs, because we know what can happen if you don't go straight back up. To get to the penultimate weekend, and we still don't know, although we're thinking we might know this week, but we still don't know that we don't know.
We did a
It's
podcast on
outrageous.
Thursday, in which we thought that by Thursday we would have had the information, and you and I had a conversation on that show in which we said, yeah, well, they'll definitely do it before the weekend, because they know how important these two massive games are at the weekend, so we will know the situation, we'll have further clarity. Did it come? Did it heck? We're still waiting the following Monday. Why are we waiting so long? When are we going to find out?
Nobody knows. You know, I touch in with Forest on a daily basis almost, and they keep saying we've been given no indication, and it's all very unsatisfactory, because there is a vibe that maybe Forest might get 2 of their 4 points back. That would relegate Burnley without Burnley kicking a ball. If they get all 4 back,
did your kids use that word?
Luton go down.
Because you don't usually say that.
Luton go down as well, and you don't want that. You don't want these decisions being decided by independent commissions, by lawyers. You want them to be decided on the football pitch. And you do wonder, it looked a good point on the face of it for Luton at home to Everton. They had chances to win that on talkSPORT on Friday night. It won't be a good point if Forest do get 2 points back, because it plunges them a big step closer to relegation. And they are toying with people's emotions. They're toying with the emotions of Forest fans. They're toying with the emotions of Rob Edwards and his players. It's a shambles.
It's a shambles, Scott, because let's be clear. If Luton knew on Friday that Nottingham Forest were getting 2 points back, right, they would have maybe changed their approach to that Everton game. They might have been different. They might have been more clinical. They might have had just a little bit more about them, a bit more desire to get over the line, because they knew they were desperately needing it. I'm not clutching at the straws, and you're going to say to me, yeah, but they've only won one in the last 15.
No.
But it does make a difference. Mentality does make a difference.
No, what I'm going to say is, and I did the game for talkSPORT, is they couldn't have given any more. They absolutely went for it. They threw everything. Even Kaminsky came up for a corner in the very last minute. They will go down, and I've always thought they will. They are really making a fist of it. I thought they'd be down already. You could have asked me at the start of the season for fair play for them getting into the position.
Asked you at the start of the season.
You did, and I did say that. So well done to them. But they will go down because there's a lack of quality. But where that club is, to be even in the Premier League, is just incredible, the journey that they've been on. But no, in terms of the points, they wouldn't have tried any harder. They tried to get the win. But this is just a really bad look for what's meant to be the classiest, you know, top-class Premier League in world football. And that's the big problem. And look, everyone wants it to be decided on the pitch and not in the courts. But rules are broken, so this has to happen. It's just a question of why wait until now. And don't give me the process and this and that. If you need to make decisions,
there's got to be a better way of handling it.
There's got to be a quicker way of handling it.
Quicker, sharper, more definitive. It's got to be. And I know that, and again, I will defend the Premier League here. The clubs are the Premier League. They decide on the ambiguous nature of the punishment. They offered them the opportunity to have a menu of punishments for different offences. And the club said no. They wanted it to be ambiguous so that they would hold them to a greater standard.
But they didn't think it was ever going to happen. That's probably the biggest point of it. And then once the independent regulator
would sign up for something though and go, yeah, all right, then no problem.
Sam, they never thought it was
never going to happen.
Sam, they never thought point deduction would come in.
Well, that is negligent on
absolutely,
their part.
but they all signed up for it.
Yeah, that's crazy, isn't it?
Because the independent regulator was coming in, the Premier League realised they had to really hold on a sec, guys. Really sorry about this, but you know what you signed up to.
Yeah, by the way,
we're actually going to have to do it.
Regulator. I've noticed that there's got an extra few things in that white paper that weren't supposed to be there, like more governmental control and oversight that I didn't think was supposed to be in there.
But that's what this all comes down to. This is why the Premier League have shown their teeth this season, because they don't want the independent regulator. Actually, the more farcical it becomes, the more likely it is. There should be an independent regulator. Speaking of farcical, by the way, Crawley Town have just called off their playoff semi-final against MK Dons because of a waterlogged pitch.
I told you the weather was bad.
It was bad.
That's really bad news because this.
I'm supposed to be the second leg on Thursday night. Yeah.
So that will become the first leg now. And the final itself is on
the 19th of May, the last day of the Premier League season.
The day before. No, the
League 1 is the Saturday, League 2 is the Sunday.
That's a 1 o'clock kickoff, isn't it?
Yeah.
So there isn't much time to find an alternative day.
That's a nightmare.
Oh, not great for them. That was supposed to be live on talkSPORT 2 at 3 o'clock, wasn't it?
It was, yeah.
Yeah, well, we'll have to rejig our schedule there as well. That's a bit of a shame. We'll talk about Chelsea at some point, but also Everton, because we talked a little bit about the points deductions and the problems that Nottingham Forest and Luton and Burnley, everyone's had because of not knowing the clarity, and Everton is certainly a big part of that. But it might be about to get worse.
White and Jordan on talkSPORT with Selco. For the latest special offers, pick up this month's real deals in branch or view online at selcobw.com.
Making a business insurance claim can be stressful. That's why at NFU Mutual we aim to respond to all claims quickly. We work with specialists to minimize disruption so you can get back to business as quickly as possible. It's no wonder over 95% of our business customers renew with us each year. For business insurance you can rely on, search NFU Mutual Business Insurance. NFU Mutual. Closer to your business and closer to what matters.
Meet Darren. Darren never used to like the motorway. Then one day, he discovered a better way to drive. Now Darren never hogs the middle lane and always keeps at least 2 seconds from the vehicle in front, reducing congestion, collisions and transforming his journey. Take it away, Darren. Little changes change everything. National Highways.
Watch tennis on the Samsung Galaxy S23 FE whilst catching rays. The races whilst at a party. The 100-metre sprint whilst at a wedding, if you dare. Or any sports whilst on the go with your phone. Plus, claim FreeBuds FE with your purchase. Win-win. And hopefully, win. Purchased by 30th of May 2024. Claim Buds FE in white from Samsung.com within 30 days of purchase. T's and C's apply.
On average, Rift get their customers £3,000 back.
I like them round the ball like I'm not.
Let's get the ball rolling. Search Rift Tax Refunds.
The McDonald's Chicken Big Mac is back, but not for long. So don't miss out on the 3 layers of soft bun. Don't miss out on the iconic, delicious Big Mac sauce. Those crisp, tender chicken patties. That fresh shredded lettuce. That melty cheese. And don't miss those delicious gherkins. Unless you want to take them out. Don't regret it. Get it. From 11 a.m. until the 28th of May. Subject to availability. Participating restaurants only.
Don't know where to start your next paint project? At Wix, find all the inspiration and help you'll need. Crux Dulux Standard 2.5 litre coloured emulsion was £21, now 15. Terms apply.
talkSPORT and Village Hotels, the fans' #1 destination for live European football. From the emotion and exhilaration of the Europa and Europa Conference League.
Absolutely extraordinary.
To the ecstasy of the Champions League.
Can you believe it?
Get finger-pitch coverage of the epic rivalries and blockbuster clashes from all 3 tiers of international European club football. Only on talkSPORT with Village Hotels. With 33 locations across the UK, Village Hotels have everything under one roof for a great breakaway.
talkSPORT Traffic and Travel with My Dear Cooling and Heating. Find an easier route to win heat recovery PRF projects with My Dear. Win more, earn faster. That's the My Dear idea.
The M1 in West Yorkshire is closed northbound at junction 40 at Wakefield after an accident. There are long delays as it turns off and back on by the slip roads. In Staffordshire, the A38 is closed northbound where cars overturn between Clay Mills and the A50 at Toyota Island. Also delays towards Derby. In West Sussex, the A23 is partly blocked northbound where cars overturn between Hand Cross and junction 11 of the M23 at East Cottage causing queues. And in East Sussex, the A21 is closed each way at John's Cross after an accident. That's the latest. I'm Russell Holding.
Sunday night.
League 2 playoff semi-final.
Live on talkSPORT 2.
High intensity, expressive football.
Oh my God!
At ExarchJournalists.com.
from 5, kick-off 5:30. Brilliant goal! Monday night on talkSPORT 2.
No one else brings you more.
Got worried about this story on Friday because Everton's prospective new owners have been accused in a lawsuit which was filed in a New York courtroom on Friday of an outright Ponzi scheme to buy the club and borrowing fraudulently against circa £280 million worth of assets. Josh Wander and Steve Paskin with 77 Partners are at the centre of a lawsuit from a company actually that are based in London, Leadenhall, in which the former and his group of alter ego entities, that's the quote, are alleged to have pledged as collateral more than $350 million in assets they did not control or did not exist. An 82-page complaint filed in New York by Leadenhall Capital Partners and Leadenhall Life Insurance and Linked Investments on Friday, branded 777, a house of cards on the brink of collapse. Everton is the latest shiny object of Wander's fraudulent scheme, they allege. 777 Partners have loaned Everton more than £200 million in 7 months and have so far unsuccessfully attempted to convince the Premier League it has the funds to complete a proposed takeover of the Toffees. They're not going to get the club, are they?
No, and we've been talking about this for a while and raising concerns. There's been some brilliant reporting on this, led by Bloomberg, actually, in terms of looking into 777's financial dealings. It was suggested to me right at the start, and I know you've had similar conversations, that there's just no way on earth that they passed the Premier League's owners and directors test. And
if you go back and listen to the Premier League All Access podcast from September, we went through a litany of the problems that would be in front of them that they would have to jump over in order to qualify.
And it turns out we didn't know the half of it, judging by what's been reported this week. But it's a concern for me that Farhad Moshiri, who clearly is an intelligent businessman, seems to have put all his eggs in this basket. You know, has he done his due diligence as custodian of Everton Football Club? I think you have to say the answer is no. And you worry about the future direction of travel. I don't think they'll go into administration this season. I think there's every chance they could start next season in administration, and therefore on -9 points.
This is no laughing matter, though. Obviously, I think Everton will survive no matter what anyway, because Everton are an institution. They'll have an asset in the new stadium anyway. So there will be buyers and takers, but there might be some pain between now and then, because if you were a prospective owner that isn't 777 Partners, you'll more than likely wait until they go into administration, wouldn't you?
Absolutely, you want to try and nick it as cheap as possible. And I mean, the Everton fans, how must they be feeling? You know, not hit once but twice, and yet the great job that Sean Dyche has done, and now just on the horizon, you're getting rid of someone, but you're jumping out of the frying pan into the fire. You know, I think Moshiri just wants out. And that's the problem. He's willing to sell to anyone, which tells me that he doesn't actually care about the club anymore, if that is the case. Because what we're hearing, if this is all true, this would be the worst possible thing, that even the 9-point deduction wouldn't be good at all, but it's still the better option than having, you know, these cowboys in charge.
There's a lot of information out there. I mean, we obviously don't know whether it's true, not true, or what, you know, whether this is a little bit.
There's too much smoke to be no fire.
There is a lot of smoke. I mean, you know, the fact that a company registered in London, Leadenhall Life Insurance, have come out and said that this is basically a de facto Ponzi scheme, and that half of these assets don't exist, and they're just moving money around on paper and just suggesting that they've got more than they actually have. And I sent you an article the other day about their airline that ended up having planes grounded because they couldn't fulfil the costs of maintenance and I think even landing charges. You know, Bonza, that's gone bust. Every football club they've been involved with has been relegated, from what I can see. So there is a serious problem here, and I think that whether or not they end up getting convicted or found guilty in this particular civil lawsuit, so it will be a fine rather than any sort of jail time. It's a massive worry for Everton, and if you're an Everton fan, you know, you've been through the mill so many times over the last 10 years, you want a bit of respite.
But that's part of the problem. I think they were so desperate to see the back of Moshiri that Everton fans were almost willing to accept any owner who was willing to make it bid. And I understand that, but I think you have to be careful, and as a fan, you have to do your own due diligence and think, well, is this actually the best way to move the club forward, or do we need to form some kind of protest against this group?
Look, it would be massive pain for Everton to have go into administration, have a 9-point deduction, but in terms of the medium to long-term future of that football club, these people, by the looks of it, cannot take it over. The Everton fans need to kind of understand that. The question would be is, would you take the 9 points now if you had the chance?
You probably would do, wouldn't you? Because if they lost 9 points now, Everton would have 28.
28.
So
still 2 above Luton.
Be safe. We've got Sheffield United next.
That's a really poor reflection on those teams in the bottom 3, by the way. The teams are having points taken away from them, and they still can't stay up.
I think they're saying in the statute book about taking a points deduction at this stage of the season. So I don't think that would happen. Anyway, if you want to get involved, 1889 on the text, we'd love to hear from you. Listening to White and Jordan on talkSPORT with Selco Builders Warehouse. Check out this month's real deals at selcobw.com. When we come back, big commentary tonight. Crystal Palace against Manchester United is live on talkSPORT. We'll discuss it.
White and Jordan on talkSPORT with Selco. For the latest special offers, pick up this month's real deals in branch or view online at selcobw.com.
TK Maxx are here to shake up your summer plans with headline-making, crowd-pleasing festival tickets exclusive to treasure customers. You and 3 friends could be on your way to TK Maxx Presents Scarborough Open Air Theatre. Join our Treasure Rewards programme. Shop with your treasure card at TK Maxx, HomeSense or tkmaxx.com and you could be a winner. There's no summer like a TK Maxx summer. T's and C's at tkmaxx.com/festival terms.
Play Set for Life and you could. £10,000 every month for 30 years. Set for Life. Play now on the National Lottery app. Terms, rules and procedures apply. Players must be 18 or over. Click to book your test drive and get set to feel good different. Participating dealers only. Suzuki Financial Services Limited. T's and C's apply. See cars.suzuki.co.uk/offers.
Want to build the bet you want in seconds? With Unibet's Bet Builder, you're on. Add shots, corners, cards and more. And increase your odds with Bet Builder Raptors, combining bet builders across multiple games and sports. Place a £10 bet builder on tonight's game to grab a £5 bet builder free bet. Unibet, you're on. 18 plus, begambleaware.org, pre-match only, match stake £10 minimum, combined odds of 4-1 and 3 selections. T's and C's apply.
With Now, you can stream all the drama from the Premier League instantly and without a contract. The stuff that dreams are made of! From top-of-the-table clashes to relegation battles and everything in between. Can you believe it? Get all Sky Sports channels for a day or a whole month with a Now Sports membership. This is unbelievable! Stream the Premier League live without a contract with Now.
18 plus Sky Sports content streamed via internet. Full terms apply.
The future of eco-friendly gardening and landscaping is here. Introducing the Ego Pro X range of factory-powered outdoor power equipment. A super tough, super powerful range for the hard-working professionals, the landscapers, the groundsmen, and the gardeners who demand the best. Say goodbye to the noise, the fuss, and the fumes of petrol, and embrace a greener, cleaner solution. The Ego Power Plus Pro X range. Power beyond belief. Search Ego Pro X today.
My dear there, heating, cooling everywhere. Same day quotes, next day delivery. You can even get a 10-year warranty.
If your business installs split systems, VRF, chillers or heat pumps, My Dear, a worldwide air treatment brand and global sponsor of Manchester City, is looking to make you our next MyPro signing. Win more, earn faster. That's the My Dear idea.
My dear.
This is no ordinary mission. We're here to help carpet fitters bring comfort and luxury into every home. A new carpet deserves the best underlay to keep that brand new carpet look for light years. We're talking Tredair carpet underlay here. We're the Tredairnauts. And with our range of underlays, we're on a mission to bring comfort and luxury into homes across the universe.
Tredair carpet underlay. Feels like nothing on earth.
talkSPORT News.
With the 11:30 headlines, I'm Tom Clayton. Good morning. The Prime Minister's been backed in suggesting there'll be a hung parliament come the next election. Health Minister Maria Caulfield says there's no guarantee Labour will be the biggest party, but Labour Party Chair Annalise Dodds says Rishi Sunak should call the general election to bring an end to the political mess.
Clearly there is that desire for change,
People really want to be given the chance to vote for it, and unfortunately Rishi Sunak is stopping that, blocking it, by refusing to announce the date for a general election.
People have started evacuating the city of Rafah in southern Gaza. Talks over a ceasefire broke down yesterday, meaning Israel are now warning they'll push ahead with planned military action. Now people in the city are being warned to leave their homes for safety. It's become a legal requirement for new bars, restaurants, offices and shopping centres in England to have single-sex toilets. Ministers say it's to protect the privacy and dignity of both men and women. And 4 men have been charged after half a tonne of cocaine was found in a van in an East Yorkshire pub car park. It has a potential street value of £40 million. All 4 have been charged with the importation of Class A drugs.
Talk Sport with Bostik. If you're looking for professional grade sealant that offers technologically advanced performance, choose Bostik Pro Sealants.
talkSPORT understands Julian Lopetegui has a verbal agreement in place to take over at West Ham, and this afternoon's League 2 playoff semi-final first leg between Crawley and MK Dons has been called off due to a waterlogged pitch. I'll have more at midday.
As another dramatic EFL season comes to a close, some clubs are celebrating the glory of automatic promotion.
Magnificent work!
But the battle is far from over as teams compete to secure that final promotion spot in the EFL playoffs. talkSPORT and talkSPORT 2 will bring you unmissable first-class coverage and full kick-by-kick commentary of each and every playoff showdown.
Unbelievable!
Ahead of all 3 playoff finals, live from Wembley Stadium.
Oh, yes!
Experience the excitement and anticipation of the EFL playoffs.
What a magnificent finish!
Live on talkSPORT and talkSPORT 2.
On Glass has done a terrific job at his last 2 clubs. Turned out teams that played some really good attacking football too.
Crystal Palace will pick up all 3 points this afternoon under their new manager.
It's Crystal Palace 5, West Ham 1. Crystal Palace fans are absolutely loving it. It's finished at Anfield, Liverpool 0, Crystal Palace 1.
Very entertaining and great to watch, and Eze is certainly one of them. Do you think that they will play for Crystal Palace next season?
Anduni on his right foot against Onana and sends him the wrong way.
You know, also we are still below the levels from the expectations that Manchester United has.
So United continue to frustrate their fans. Burnley, however,
This is a manager now who probably knows that his days are numbered. This is a group of players who probably deserve Conference League football because that's their level.
slips Eze right-footed. Goes it in! Fantastic free kick!
Luckily cross, header in! Bruno Fernandes, 2-2! What a comeback from Manchester United!
Hey, good afternoon to you. This is talkSPORT. It's Sam Manface with Alex Crook and with Scott Minto. We're here on this bank holiday Monday. So many people getting in touch today. It's great to have you contributing to the show. Tim is a Forest fan. He said, I love talkSPORT, but I never heard so much dribble that you biased media are spouting about Forest. Not want any friends along the way. Frankly, people are missing the point. Someone had to say something, and it had to go public at some point. 44 million views, that tweet. And we didn't use the word corrupt. The pundits didn't agree with it at the time, but I'm fully behind it. All 3 pens have been given at Everton, and similar ones have been given other games. Same VAR at City this weekend gives an identical penalty. It doesn't suit the narrative though. Love Forest, hate the Prem. Well, look, I don't think that you can sort of get away from the fact that questioning the integrity of a match official suggesting that he was a Luton Town fan and didn't think that he had all his duties as a result of that. That was the wrong thing to do. I do think that people lost so that's just my opinion. But I also think that over the course of the year that VAR has made some serious, massive errors. And yeah, I agree. They could have given at least, well, I would have given at least one of the penalties was nailed on. The other 2, and any given Sunday, could have happened too.
Yeah, I said that at the time, 1 of 3, and I think Danny Murphy said he was very good on talkSPORT, the way he explained everything, said the same thing as well, but then Graham Souness came on and said all 3, so look, it's always subjective, isn't it? And to be fair to Forest fans, I think I mentioned earlier that there's been a lot of decisions that seem to have gone the other way rather than their way. But you may not have mentioned the words and the implications there.
There's a difference between being hapless and being dishonest. And Forest were using the VAR of the latter.
Well, they were. They were saying they asked him to be removed because they had concerns about his allegiance to Tottenham.
And then any of those concerns in public after decisions went against them.
Yeah, and what I don't get is if Blackwell was a Liverpool fan, then he should have given some of the penalties because he would have wanted a draw.
Yeah, no. That's the bit that I never could quite work out. With regards to Everton, if 7-7 partners can't take over, surely someone needs to look into the money they're giving Everton at this moment in time, because without that, they would be in administration. Tired guys. Thank you very much. Great show. That's from Brian Newcastle. That's something that we sort of.
Well, you have to question where the money is coming
exactly.
from.
Been asking.
Yeah, because is there somebody else who's putting his money into 777, potentially knowing that maybe he might end up being custodian of the football club? That happened at Portsmouth when they went into administration with Bell.
There was a lot of money by, I think, Andy Bell, AJ Bell, and somebody else as well came together and loaned them £158 million, and they had a deadline of the other week. And I was talking to you about the Uruguay at the time, discovering this sort of talkSPORT, where they had to pay it back by midnight of that Chelsea game. They hadn't done so, but they had agreed an extension, but it was a matter of weeks, not months, so that's going to come around again very quickly.
I think Michael Tabor, the big horse racing backer, has put some money in as well.
Interesting. Is this a joke? The media hasn't given a monkeys about the emotions of Evertonians, says one texter. No, I don't think that's true. No, we do care about it, especially for the great institution that is Everton. But I can understand if you think it does get lost every now and again. I don't think there's been enough coverage of this takeover, saying that Crook and I have sort of worked on quite a lot, but I think we've been a little bit disappointed that we haven't seen as much sort of concern about this going through. I'm working in Ely today, lads, and Coisty, as he would say, it taps off. I hope Moyes goes to a club where he's appreciated. It was too early for him at Manchester United, but he's worked miracles at West Ham. Good luck to him. He deserves more respect and gratitude, Martin, in Newmarket. Just a sample of some of the messages we've been getting this morning. Crystal Palace, Manchester United tonight, Premier League, live and exclusive on talkSPORT. Joe Shannon is going to step into the commentary breach alongside England midfielder Danny Murphy. It's been an interesting week for Manchester United, because in the space of a week, Bayern Munich have been linked with all of their old cast-offs. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, Ralf Rangnick, now Erik Ten Hag. Where does that come from?
Well, I think the interest in Ten Hag is genuine. I think they appreciate his body of work. Obviously, this season it's not gone particularly well, but I do think he's got mitigating factors. I think credit to Ten Hag. He's aware of the interest. As far as I understand it, conversations have taken place between Bayern Munich and his agent to sound him out. Would he be interested in the job? At the moment, he has said his only focus is on Manchester United. I think he deserves respect for that, because he clearly still believes that he will be in charge at Old Trafford next season, despite the fact that Sir Jim Ratcliffe has not come out publicly and backed his manager. I don't believe there's been any private assurances to that effect either, but he does have another year left on his contract. I'm really torn when it comes to Erik Ten Hag.
He's changing your mind.
He's not flip-flopping.
I think he is.
I'm struggling, because you look at last season and you can't deny there was progress. 2 FA Cup finals, 1 trophy in the cabinet, qualified for the Champions League. You look at this season and it's been a disaster. The Champions League campaign was a shambles. They're back at Wembley in the FA Cup final, but the nature of that semi-final victory left a really sour taste in the mouth of most Manchester United fans, because they did their best to throw it away against a mid-table championship team.
To be stopped by a 13-year-old daughter.
That's true. I was ready to walk out in 90 minutes because I was so disgusted with the way that they capitulated. The league season has been a nightmare. They're miles away in terms of the Champions League. Might not qualify for Europe at all when you look at the form of Newcastle and Chelsea. But there are mitigating circumstances. You had the Jadon Sancho situation, which I guess if you were a Ten Hag detractor, you could say was a lot of his own making. You've had Marcus Rashford, who's basically down tools for the whole season, having scored 30 goals last season. They've not got fit centre-back at Palace tonight, so I'd imagine Mateta is going to have a field day. He's had so many injuries. You've had the ongoing uncertainty over the takeover, and there is a part of me that believes that Erik Ten Hag, based on what he did last season, based on what he did at Ajax, deserves the opportunity to work under a proper structure, with Dan Ashworth coming in, and Jason Wilcox already in situ, a new chief executive as well. He deserves the chance to prove himself that he can work in a proper environment, an environment that, let's be honest, no manager has had at Manchester United since Sir Alex Ferguson left.
Yeah, but don't you think
the counter-argument is they've been so poor this season. They lack direction this season.
He did say he didn't know which way he was going to go.
Yeah, he still doesn't know. Don't you think that you're part of the problem here? Because you were calling for Mourinho to be sacked, you were calling for Ole to be sacked, you're calling for Erik Ten Hag to go earlier in the season.
I don't think I've ever actually come out and said he's got to go.
I think you have.
I don't think you'd find that.
I think we could quite easily find that you would.
You're definitely not calling him the little ball genius.
Yeah,
I know that.
I went early with that, he said.
That halo has slipped. But listen, I'll stand by it.
No, go back to before.
I will.
The structure beforehand would have been better if you'd kept Mourinho in charge, if you had accepted that he'd done a good job, allowed him to bring in the players, backed him instead of the players. As a football club, they mismanaged that situation. Again, they gave too much power to the dressing room. Now you're in a situation where you, once again, are thinking about changing a manager after another season of struggle.
There's a few points that you've made there. I think you're rewriting history a little bit. Yes, he did do a good job to a point, Jose Mourinho. I think you're forgetting how toxic it was by the time he left the football club.
He didn't get what he wanted.
But if you look at Eric Ten Hag has argued that. He's come out today and said Mourinho is the only Manchester United manager
Eric Ten Hag
who was able to sign the players.
Mourinho has just said there were 6 players that are still there at Manchester United that I wanted to get rid of 4 years ago.
But you look at Jose Mourinho's career, he has instant success at whatever club he goes to. He hasn't really ever been able to lay down long-term roots because of his personality. That the players in the dressing room turn off to him, the fans turn off to him because of the style of play.
Isn't that what's happened here?
Yeah. What, with Mourinho?
Well, with Ten Hag, he had an instant impact.
Again,
Finished high in the league, got to a final.
There's a cycle when it comes to Manchester United. Every manager post-Fergie has had some kind of impact. Yeah, I agree. And that sort of backs up what I'm saying. The structure has been wrong, which is why I think he probably deserves the opportunity once Ashworth and Wilcox are in place and Barada as well. He doesn't want to buy the players from what he says. He wants to be a head coach. He's happy to have a director of football come in and sign the players. He didn't trust the people in positions of power to do that last summer, which is why I think he had to take more of a direct role in recruitment. You can argue that Anthony's been a poor signing. Anana, I think at times can look like a really good goalkeeper, but he's made mistakes.
It's just like looking at a different guy from about 3 weeks ago.
I think has shown in spells as a player there, but he's very raw.
We will get the podcast out on a weekly basis.
Right.
No, but do you know what?
I'm wrestling with my own conscience.
He's actually probably reflecting what a lot of Manchester United fans feel. For too long, the players have had their own way. The culture has been disgraceful. The players have known that the managers, they're more important and influential than the manager. And look, that was then what happened with Mourinho. This is now. This is a new guy that's come in, as it were. Okay, the Glazers are still the owners, but Sir Jim is the one who's now making the decisions. He needs to decide behind the scenes whether Ten Hag is the right man to take United forward. Forget what's happened in the past. You're turning around the Titanic with United with what's happened over the last decade. Sir Alex Ferguson wouldn't get the time that he needed to turn things around. And it's very similar. You can say, oh, that was then and football's changed. The principles are still the same. The culture that needs to change is still the same. And Ten Hag, look, I'm a little bit torn with him, and I don't really care about United, but
everyone cares about United.
I don't. I really don't.
You do.
But I want to see them up there in terms of challenging, because a strong United is a strong Premier League. But I look at the players and I think they can't keep on having their own way with players doing what they want to do. They've gone 3-year contracts, so the manager's the one who goes first. He needs to be allowed when I listen to him post-match, he doesn't come across as if he either, one, knows what he's meant to be doing, or two, he's not honest enough with what he's seeing.
You're all freaking out about the fact that he was telling you things in post-match interviews that you couldn't see on the pitch. He was telling you that last week you were laughing at the fact that he said we're a dynamic team, one of the most dynamic teams in the league.
I don't think I was
laughing. Yes, you were. You went, I just don't care.
But that's my point.
Off. Because he was telling you things, he was saying we're playing good football and creating good chances, and you said no, it was nonsense.
But is there not a bit of West Ham here? You talked about David Moyes and the fact he's not being backed by the owners. Sir Jim Ratcliffe has had ample opportunity to come out and say Eric Ten Hag will be the manager next season. He hasn't done that. Yeah, but if he knows he's being judged, the players know he's being judged, he's going to be a little bit lost, the manager. But let's not deflect the blame off these players. You mentioned that Jose said there were 6 players there that he wanted to get rid of. That Coventry game, yes, Ten Hag made some bizarre changes, didn't need to take off Garnacho and Mainu. But the players coming on the pitch, Christian Eriksen is an experienced international player. There is no excuse that they've bottled it in that last 20 minutes just because the manager made a couple of changes. And these players have been fouling the fans, and they've been fouling various coaches and managers for years. Ultimately, whoever's in the dugout, there are players in that team who are not performing.
The decision, whether they keep him or whether they don't, is absolutely massive for Manchester United going forward in the short and medium term.
Is he good enough? And if he's not good enough, do you keep him just to send a message to the dressing room?
No, good enough. You look at the list of contenders.
You always have to look at alternatives.
Hansi Flick has chucked his hand into the ring. Thomas Tuchel's desperate for the job, but we know that he comes with a fair bit of backwards
But that doesn't matter, Crookie. For me,
if they change him, it'll be Potter or Southgate. I'm almost certain of that. And is that a step forward?
The step that United need to do is not think how can we get back to United from under Sir Alex Ferguson. How can we start challenging for not just top four, but just challenging in the way that Arsenal are challenging now. Not necessarily actually winning the title. It's step by step. So you get the next person in for the next step. One, do you think Ten Hag is good enough? Two, is there a better alternative out there? But three, you also need to keep in mind about the players. You need to send a message with the manager that you're going to do, whether you keep him, whether you don't. This is the boss from now on, and you do what he says, the way that Sir Alex Ferguson used to, in the way that Pep Guardiola does, in the way that Jurgen Klopp has done as well. And that decision there is absolutely crucial for United on the pitch going forward.
If you were in a position of power at United and you had an option to keep Ten Hag or to hire Graham Potter or Gareth Southgate, what would you do?
I would go for Thomas Tuchel.
Wasn't the option on the table.
I know, but that's what I do.
I agree with you, but
I understand the point you're making. You know, are they going to be better? You know, Graham Potter. I like Graham Potter, and it was the right manager at the wrong club at the wrong time with Chelsea. But he can't now, after what happened at Chelsea, go to become the Manchester United manager. With Gareth Southgate, well, who knows? If he goes and wins the Euros, then maybe and he makes key decisions in games, then people will turn around and say, do you know what? He is the man. He would be great off the field in terms of getting that culture right. But is he the right man to take United to the next, to the level that they want to be? I think Thomas Tuchel is not more that man.
Okay, thank you very much. We will come back to this, I'm sure, over the course of the next few hours, weeks, months. The live game tonight is Crystal Palace against Manchester United. Tonight on talkSPORT, it kicks off at 8 on air from 7 o'clock with Adrian Durham, Danny Murphy, Joe Shannon. Looking forward to it.
White and Jordan on talkSPORT with Selco. For everyday low trade prices on all your essential building materials, visit your local branch or head to selcobw.com.
Art is all about finding that sweet spot. You want a small stylish car with a decent boot and loads of tech. Then the Hyundai i20 is ideal. Or you want a compact SUV, in which case the Bayon is spot on. And with at least £1,250 towards your deposit and 3.9% APR representative, the timing couldn't be sweeter. Find your sweet spot at hyundai.co.uk. Ends 1st July 24. Finance subject to status. Hyundai UK is a credit broker, not a lender. Terms apply.
McDonald's are making small improvements to our classic burgers. See them now 100% British and Irish beef patties, so they're even juicier. And we're serving them hotter for meltier cheese, all in new toastier buns. The classics, now a little more Comparison with prior classic burgers, served after 11 AM, subject to availability.
With Now, you can stream all the drama from the Premier League instantly and without a contract. The stuff that dreams are made of! From top-of-the-table clashes to relegation battles and everything in between. Can you believe it? Get all Sky Sports channels for a day or a whole month with a Now Sports membership. This is unbelievable! Stream the Premier League live without a contract with Now.
18 plus Sky Sports content streamed via internet. Full terms apply.
With so many holiday homes on Booking.com, there are so many different me's I could be. I could book a beach house in Cornwall and be relaxed me. I could book an apartment in Paris for cultured me. I could book a villa in Tuscany and be foodie me. Needs a holiday me loves all those me's. Book whoever you want to be. Booking.com. Booking.yeah.
My dear here, my dear there, heating, cooling everywhere. Same day quotes, next day delivery. You can even get a 10-year warranty.
If your business installs split systems, VRF, chillers or heat pumps, MyDear, a worldwide air treatment brand and global sponsor of Manchester City, is looking to make you our next micro signing. Win more, earn faster. That's the MyDear idea.
MyDear.
Want to build the bet you want in seconds? With Unibet's Bet Builder, you're on. Add shots, corners, cards and more. And increase your odds with Bet Builder Rackers, combining bet builders across multiple games and sports. Place a £10 bet builder on tonight's game to grab a £5 bet builder free bet. Unibet, you're on. on. 18 plus, begambleaware.org, pre-match only, match day £10 minimum, combined odds of 4-1 and 3 selections, T's and C's apply.
talkSPORT Traffic and Travel with MyDear Cooling and Heating. Find an easier route or with heat pump chiller projects with MyDear. Win more, earn faster. That's the MyDear idea.
On the M11 in Essex, there's a lane closed southbound after an accident between junctions 7 and 6 from Harlow to the M25, causing queues. In West Sussex, the A286 is closed at Burnhurst after an accident, and in East Sussex, the A21 is closed in both directions between Big Cripps Corner turn-off and Deep Johns Cross roundabouts after an accident causing delays. And the A21 is also closed southbound along London Road at St Leonards-on-Sea for emergency repairs. That's the latest. I'm Russell Holding.
So this June, talkSPORT and talkSPORT 2 bring you full, uninterrupted commentary of UEFA Euro 2024 live from Germany.
They are back in the big time.
Euro 2024, live aus Deutschland. Starts June 14th on talkSPORT.
His little face, he's been getting right wound up in the break, hasn't he?
He really bit, didn't he?
Did he really bit? You okay?
I'm cool, calm and collected as ever.
Alex Crook saying what all proper Manchester United fans are saying, if Eric Ten Hag was to be sacked, then they'd have to hire an improvement, i.e. Tuchel. But there aren't too many better managers out there that are available.
Spot on.
He asked me to read that out.
He wrote it. from Alex.
Could you please read
in
that
London?
out? Why are you going to read that out? You get very stressed in that little break, don't you?
You tend to pick out the negative ones, don't you? Instead of the positive ones. I'm more of a glasses half full man than you.
Oh, yeah. Really? I think none of us agree with that.
I'm staying quiet on that.
Talking of glass half full, Chelsea, is your glass half full with Chelsea after recent performances?
Absolutely. Look, again, we go back to philosophy that the new owners have done, and the fact that they've gone for, young, foreign, unproven talent, but thinking about it in 2, 3, 4 years' time, when Chelsea for 20 years was built on the here and now. Again, I feel sorry for Graham Potter, I feel sorry for Frank Lampard, I feel sorry for Mauricio Pochettino as well, but he is starting to turn it around, and these players are beginning to feel comfortable wearing a Chelsea shirt. Nicholas Jackson, you can say for all the stick that he's had, and he's certainly missed some chances. The FA Cup semi-final springs to mind among a few others. He hit 16 goals this season. That's not a bad return for someone who's come in and wasn't expected to be necessarily the number one. And with Christopher Nkunku being out for practically all season. So I think what we've got here is Pochettino, who has struggled at times with the media, and perhaps because he's not been getting the backing from above.
Interesting that, isn't it? So I've never experienced that. He's always been incredibly open and easy to talk to. And I think that, people picked out the interview that he did post-match on Thursday night, where I didn't see it, but I'm told that he sort of wanted backing or was talking about his future.
Yeah, I saw it.
Sometimes I feel as if, actually, he gets a little bit sort of tied up in sort of the language.
Lost in translation.
Yeah, I do think there's a little bit of that. But he's done a great job. When you look at the statistics since the start of December, they've won 9 of their last 11 Premier League home games, right? They've the joint most home wins level with Arsenal and home points level with Manchester City in the competition since that day. They've scored the joint most home goals in 2024. They've scored, in the last 9 home games, they've scored 2 goals at least. I mean, on that sense, it is on an upward trajectory. However, Chelsea finishing outside the top 4 is never going to be acceptable. No. And that's what he said to me actually on Thursday night. I said, because he was saying we should look at this season as a positive. And I said, so when you factor in everything, when you look at the whole thing in a round, do you believe this has been a positive season for Chelsea? He said, compared to Chelsea's history, no. But when you look at the circumstances, yes.
I heard the interview, and I know exactly what he meant. And again, Chelsea of the previous sort of 19 years under Abramovich was all about the here and now, ready-made, world-class players. He wasn't looking to the future. So the Chelsea fans are asked now being to almost reprogram their mind to what they're seeing and be patient and look to the future when there's not enough senior pros there. And Pochettino, obviously being the manager, day in, day out with the press conferences and the questions he has to answer, and maybe not the backing that he's been getting. For me, I think he's dealt with it pretty well, but he still looks a little bit of a man he was after that game anyway, under stress. Now, if they finish 6th...
There's a reason for that, isn't it?
I think he's done a really good job when you factor in the transfer policy that seems to have been decided by the two co-sporting directors with no real influence for the manager. I don't think he's had any kind of say at all in recruitment. You've got one of the owners who won't stay out the dressing room, won't stay away from the training ground, and seems determined to undermine the manager at every possible turn.
This is
I think if I was Pochettino, the first thing I'd do when he sits down and speaks to the owners is say, look, can you just back off, keep your distance.
Yeah, but that's the problem. I don't think they will, and I don't think they actually realise that they are undermining the manager, because the players see them coming all the time and therefore looking, and we don't know how the body language is going to be. They need to come out. The players are told on the training ground, he's my man, and you know what? You do what he says or you're out. And again, it's very similar to Manchester United. Then they will respect, and he can go as often as he wants. But if he's not saying those things, it absolutely does undermine Pochettino. And I'm with you. Even with the last transfer window, I've heard that he was involved. Well, what does involved mean? What's the definition of involved? Is it actually, we found these players and we want these players, and unless you've got a big problem with it, where I think it's been too nice.
I think he had very limited influence on who came.
Totally. And yet he's having to deal with that and suddenly get all these pieces of a jigsaw and put them all together and have players growing together in a Chelsea shirt that has always been about the here and now.
And he's the one who gets the flack if results don't go well, when actually I think fans should ask a lot more questions about the sporting directors and about the ownership.
Absolutely. Just off the record, I think that it should be over the next 24 hours or so that Forest find out about their points deduction. Then again, we've been there before. Chelsea could end up finishing in the top 6. They've got 54 points. They're 2 behind Newcastle. Manchester United could go tonight if there was a big Crystal Palace.
Are you confident, Crookie?
No.
We've got Bet going on as well.
It's a tough one tonight. With no central defenders, Palace in a decent run of form. Bruno Fernandes may miss a game injured for the first time in his United career. It could go very wrong.
We've got to go. We'll turn it back round to Manchester United again. Unbelievable. Still to come on the programme, we'll be talking about the Championship. We're going to speak to a man who'll be mightily relieved after a great escape as well.
White and Jordan on talkSPORT with Selco Builders Warehouse. Get stacks of stock and hundreds of big name trade brands at SelcoBW.com. We've got it. White and Jordan on talkSPORT with Selco Builders Warehouse. Check stock at your local branch. We've got it at SelcoBW.com.
So many small cars to choose from. This one looks like that one, which looks like, the new Suzuki Swift. This is the one.
Yep, standard reaction to the new Suzuki Swift, which comes with serious style, a choice of cool colours, and loads of tech as standard. Oh, and it's available with 0% APR for 2 years. Want to be one of the first behind the wheel? Search Suzuki Swift to book your test drive and get set to feel good different. Participating dealers only. Suzuki Financial Services Limited. T's and C's apply. See cars.suzuki.co.uk/offers.
Catch something big at your local Admiral Slots Casino, because Big Bass Bonanza can now be played on the high street. Ditch your phone's small screen and bad internet connection and upgrade your gaming experience at Admiral Slots today. Hook some big free spin bonuses and play for up to £500 jackpot at your nearest Admiral Slots Casino. If you're ready to play, spin safe at Admiral Slots, where our friendly team are on hand to help you play responsibly and stay within your limits. Visit admiralslots.co.uk for more. Over 18s only. Please gamble responsibly.
Get summer sorted with EasyJet flights from just £32 one way and package holidays at unbeatable prices from £319 per person. Book now at easyjet.com. Get out there. Selected flights June to September. Selected holidays in June, July and September based on 2 adults, 5 nights. Apple protected. See unbeatable price guarantee online. Limited availability. T's and C's apply.
It's time to spring into makeover mode with the Oak Furnitureland Bank Holiday Sale, where you can save on every range. Save on a luxurious bed for waking up ready to seize brighter days, a stylish sofa to sprawl on once the garden's prepped for summer, or a stunning dining table and chairs for entertaining the night away. And right now, enjoy 3 years interest-free credit and no deposit to pay from just $4.99. The Oak Furnitureland Bank Holiday Sale ends Monday. Finance T's and C's apply. Oak Furnitureland is a credit broker, not a lender.
With LV, I can get my home insurance from just £179. They've made it easy for me to get a great price, which is what we're all after, right? And their 24/7 emergency helpline lets me look after what matters to me, because insurance is simple when it's me and LV.
No wonder we're rated excellent on Trustpilot. Get your quote today at lb.com. 10% of customers paid £179 or less, August 2023 to January 2024.
Don't know where to start your next paint project? At Wix, find all the inspiration and help you'll need. Price Dulux standard 2.5 litre coloured emulsion was £21, now 15. Terms apply.
The Premier League is bigger and better than ever. Don't miss any of this season's action on talkSPORT with Now. Featuring talkSPORT's most full-on, football-dedicated schedule ever. Fabulous goal! It's your non-stop, one-shot Premier League destination. Monday game night on talkSPORT with Now. Stream all the Sky Sports action like Crystal Palace versus Manchester United. Live today, contract free with a Now Sports membership. Search Now Sports 18+, stream via internet, terms apply.
On 1089 and 1053 medium wave. Online, on your mobile and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT. Talk Sport.
With Lookers. Buy your next car or book your MOT, service or repair at lookers.co.uk.
With the midday headlines, I'm Tom Clayton. Good afternoon. talkSPORT understands the verbal agreements in place for Julian Lopetegui to succeed David Moyes at West Ham. It's a campaign that's apparently been fronted by David Sullivan himself, with other members of the hierarchy wanting to keep Ruben Amorim in the fold. But as it stands, Lopetegui appears to be their man, as we're still waiting to confirm Moyes' exit. Harry Redknapp told us that would be no surprise.
He's done a great job there, and there'll be another big job for him anyway, but I could see him moving on, as certainly the signs are there.
We also understand Jadon Sancho has no desire to return to Manchester United, even if Erik ten Hag is sacked. Matt Dortmund are keen to keep the forward on loan for another season. Keep up to date with all the latest on that on talkSPORT.com. Referee Jared Gillett will wear a ref cam during Crystal Palace's match with Manchester United this evening. He's filming for a programme that highlights match officials. You can hear the match live on talkSPORT at 7 p.m. Ipswich's promotion party is just getting underway. They'll go on a bus tour through the town, starting at Portland Road. Meanwhile, the League 2 playoff semi-final first leg between Crawley and MK Dons is off today. It's due to a waterlogged pitch. And 110 races into his F1 career, and Lando Norris finally has a win under his belt. He took advantage of a safety car and jumped the pack, eventually then pulling away from Max Verstappen to claim victory in Miami. When asked if he can win again, his father, Adam Norris, told us sure he can.
Everything's getting better, and he'll be more confident, he'll feel more relaxed going out there now. He's won a race. Let's hope in a few weeks' time, hopefully, he wins again.
There's more on talkSPORT.com.
talkSPORT News.
Labour's party chair has urged Rishi Sunak to call a general election after the locals last week, and civilians are beginning to evacuate the southern Gaza city of Rafah after ceasefire talks broke down. There's more news on Talk and Times Radio.
talkSPORT weather with QuickFit. With over 600 centres across the UK, most of which open 7 days a week, we're always there when you need us. QuickFit. Drive away happy every time.
Sunshine and heavy showers throughout much of the day. Heavier and persistent rain moving northward on the south coast.
On 1089 and 1053 medium wave, on DAB, online and on your smart speaker. Sam Matterface on talkSPORT.
It's Sam Matterface and Scott Minto and Alex Crook. We're here right the way through till 1 o'clock this afternoon. If you're watching on YouTube and Facebook, you can always see Crookie moving around in the background with his phone out non-stop. Do you know what? He is a pain in the backside to be mates with, it must be said. Last night we sat down, we had a little debrief after what was a very long day. And I was on the green tea trying to sort of soothe the voice. He was having a pint and he sat there, phone in hand, the whole time. I could hardly talk. I was expecting him to lead the conversation. He was too busy texting. When he goes on holiday, his missus sends me pictures of him on the phone by the pool. Just
no one wants to be sent pictures of Crookie while he's on.
Never off duty. Unless I'm at Augusta and they don't let phones in.
Yes, I remember that. Right, let's talk a little bit about Spain, because Jude Bellingham has become league champion over the course of the weekend. Real Madrid beating Cadiz on Saturday, and then Girona beating Barcelona, meant that in his first season he has been crowned as a champion. No bigger statement in football than doing it at Real Madrid. Scored in his debut. He's gone on to score 18 league goals this season. He may even win the Pichichi, although Artem Dovbyk might have something to say about that. Let's speak to Sam Marsden, who is a Spanish correspondent for ESPN. Good afternoon to you, Sam.
Good afternoon, guys. How you doing?
Good, thank you. I commentated the Girona-Barcelona game at the weekend, and we'll get on to Girona, who are a big story as well in Spanish football in just a moment. But Real Madrid being crowned champions, I mean, how well, put into context, in terms of English exports to La Liga, where is Jude Bellingham already standing?
Yeah, I mean, he's right at the very top, arguably. I mean, if you look back at sort of just the recent ones this century, obviously, you know, David Beckham went out on a high, but he joined that sort of Galacticos team. He didn't win the league until his final season. There was a disappointment in Europe during his time, and Bellingham's come in, and he's not just come in and done well, he's come in and he's almost sort of straight away, almost unexpectedly. I don't think anyone here really expected him to come in and be the sort of leader of this team straight away. And Real Madrid have answered to the league title in large part because of the way he started the season, in terms of goal scoring, the way he's carried the team throughout the season. Vinicius Jr. was injured for large parts of the season, and it fell on Bellingham. And yeah, his 18 goals, like you say, from midfield. He's never scored 8 goals, more than 8 goals in a league season before when at Dortmund, so no one was expecting that output. So yeah, I mean, obviously McManaman was obviously great as well with Champions League success. But in terms of being the central figure in the Real Madrid team, Bellingham, obviously it's just one season, and now he's got to sustain that over several seasons. He's probably, you know, he could easily make a case already for him to be number one in terms of English exports. And look, this isn't a Madrid team that people thought they're going to wrap up the league title with 4 games to go. Barca won the league last year. This was a Madrid team that had lost Benzema. That, you know, there were doubts about the number 9. There were doubts about, you know, whether Bellingham, how he would fit into the team. And they've been extraordinary in Liga this season.
This is a team that also, their first change off the bench for a large part of the season was Joselu, who didn't make the grade at Stoke and Newcastle, but he's done a very good job in Spain and a very good job for Real Madrid off the bench this season. He has done brilliantly. So many late goals, so many crucial goals for Real Madrid over the course of the campaign. But I wonder how much that they have profited from the fact that Barcelona have been so far off the pace.
Yeah, I mean, Barca have got themselves to blame for a large part, but Madrid have also, you know, they've lost 1 game this season. Even if Barca had, you know, done much better, you'd still probably be looking at Madrid, if not having already won the league, on track to win the league. They've only lost to Atletico Madrid. They won both games against Barcelona. They won both games against Girona, who are now second in the Liga. So when it's mattered, they've won the games. So yeah, obviously it helps that Barca have dropped to third. They've sort of imploded at certain times, especially in big games. They've been really, really poor defensively. And overall, it's been a disappointing title defence. But yeah, I mean, you can't take away from what Madrid have done, losing just 1 game to Atletico, and that was back in September now. So they're unbeaten since then in La Liga. Has been remarkable, really, because like I said, I don't think anyone was really expecting them to be this dominant this season.
What does the summer look like for Barcelona? Because obviously, financially, I think there's still 1 or 2 question marks. We know the manager is going to stay on for 1 more year now. What realistically can they hope to do in the summer to get them closer to challenging Real next season?
This is the thing. Financially, there are huge questions. As things stand, they're not able to do anything before they perhaps, you know, sell players, move players on, whether it's reducing the wage bill or bringing in money that they can spend. They're still in excess of, you know, La Liga gives each team a spending limit based on sort of how much they can spend annually on transfers and wages, and Barca are over 200 million in excess of that. So until they're back within their La Liga spending limit, they can only spend a certain amount of the money that they bring in. So at the moment, they're completely sort of unable to sign players. As many rumours as you read, etc. What they want to do, and what Xavi wants to do, and what Xavi's wanted to do since last summer, and they didn't do properly for him, is to sign a proper sort of holding midfielder to replace Sergio Busquets, which they've never done. If they could do 1 signing, it would be that. But they also need to strengthen in other areas, perhaps at fullback, perhaps, you know, even in attack, depending on if they move players on. Players like João Felix and Ferran Torres, who have done okay at times, they haven't really sort of kicked on and established themselves as, you know, those top-level forwards producing week in, week out that they expected. Robert Lewandowski's obviously 35, turning 36 this summer, so there are questions about him sort of, if not next season, certainly beyond, how they replace him. So they need to strengthen all over the pitch, but they just don't have the money to do it. There are players that obviously they won't sell, you know, the young guys like Lamine Yamal, Pau Kubasi, who's broken through, who, you know, clubs would probably pay 100 million plus for, who the club don't want to sell. There are other players who perhaps they would entertain offers for, you know, like Frenkie de Jong, perhaps even Ronald Araujo, but these are players that, you know, are so settled at Barcelona and reluctant to leave. So it's going to be a really, really difficult summer for Barca, and it's hard to see at this stage how they strengthen sufficiently with the financial situation that they're in.
They didn't help themselves at the weekend. In fact, they're so desperate to finish in 2nd place, because that gets you into the Spanish Super Cup, and that comes with a prize fee of €5 million, and that's how desperate Barcelona are. They want even that amount of money. But they were beaten by Girona. Brilliant second half from Girona. Michel was the manager of Girona, made a couple of changes, and boy did they work. I know you were at the game, weren't you, on Saturday night? This is an amazing story. Yes, they are owned in part by the City Group. Yes, they have benefited maybe from a few of the generous loans of others. But I mean, they've got Eric Garcia, who's on loan from Barcelona, and Savio, who's on loan from Troyes, who's part of another team, as part of the City Group. But the fact that Girona have secured Champions League football and did so at the weekend in such style is absolutely stunning. I mean, it's headline-making performance, isn't it?
Yeah, it's absolutely remarkable. Obviously, you know, I write the stories, post the stories about Girona, and you get people coming back going, well, of course, this is the City Group, of course they're going to be... But A, they've not had sort of money to spend from the City Group. They're still subject to the same sort of conditions of La Liga spending. I think at the start of their season, their budget was the 14th biggest in La Liga. It's around 50 million. You know, when you look at Madrid and Barca's, which obviously Barca's limits are lower, but what they're spending is, you know, 500-600 million. It, you know, pales into comparison. So they've done this sort of on the back of shrewd sort of ownership within the club, because there is autonomy from City within the group. They've got the sporting director Kike Casal, they're owned by Evertista and stuff as well. So while they benefit from the guidance and the relationships of being part of the City football group, this is still a remarkable story. It's just their 4th ever season in the top flight. They haven't spent big. Their record signing cost 7 million. I mean, if you compare their sort of wage outgoings and their money spent, you know, a club like Burnley in the Premier League is probably, you know, a fraction of what's being spent by those clubs. So it's still a remarkable achievement. And to be above Barca, not just to qualify for the Champions League, but beating Barca 4-2 twice. This is sort of, you have to kind of, they kind of have like a little brother, big brother relationship in that. Here in Catalonia, people from Girona would previously have supported Barcelona, because Girona would have been down in the 2nd, 3rd, even 5th division in the 90s. And they would sort of supported both teams. And now to be in La Liga, and not just in La Liga, obviously 2017 for the first time, this is their 4th season, but to have beaten Barca twice, 4-2 in both games, scoring 8 goals against Barcelona, has really changed sort of the dynamic of that relationship. It's been a remarkable season. It's been remarkable to see here, and even in Barcelona, you see Girona shirts popping up now.
Swans in the Champions League. Are they going to be okay to play Champions League football because of the ownership situation? Where are they going to play their games? Because the stadium is very small, 14,000 capacity. It was packed out on Saturday night, and they got to see a wonderful goal from Porto. Definitely well worth checking out if you haven't seen it. What does the future look like for next season?
Yeah, the Champions League situation is still needs to be ratified by UEFA. There obviously are concerns there, because obviously there's the rules about certain ownership groups can only have one team in the competition, and in theory, you know, if Girona finish second and Man City finish second or third, City go in based on finishing higher or having the higher coefficient. But at Girona, there's optimism that they will be in the Champions League. There's not any sort of, if there is concern, they've not let it slip. When you speak to, you know, we've spoken to the hierarchy for various reasons this season, and there's sort of a belief that they have that autonomy, and there is precedent in the past. We've been with Leipzig and Salzburg, have both been able to compete in European competition, and they've had sort of shared ownership groups. You have to prove certain things, and go through the UEFA sort of disciplinary panel, so it does still need to be ratified. But we've seen even last summer there were cases with Aston Villa and Vitoria and Brighton, and excuse my pronunciation, but Union Saint-Gilloise, the Belgian team, and their sort of relationships there, and they've all been allowed to compete in Europe, Milan and Toulouse as well. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, Girona have complete optimism that there is enough autonomy within the club. They have their own sort of setup within the club. But we'll see, there are certain sort of restrictions as well, I think, with the Villa and Brighton rules, with to do with player trading and stuff as well, that you weren't allowed to sort of trade between those two teams. So we'll see how that could even have a knock-on effect in terms of Savio's future and whatnot. Maybe not so much, because he's obviously linked to Troyes, just on loan at Girona, so I don't know how that would all pan out. Although I guess Troyes is the opposite side of the coin of the ownership group, everything that's going on there. And with regards to the stadium, yeah, that is up in the air as well, whether it A, meets sort of criteria, and B, whether they do want to play there. Michel was speaking about this on the radio just now this morning, saying that he wants to play there. They want Champions League to play, do everything they can to play there. The alternative would be to come and play their home games in Barcelona, presumably perhaps at Espanyol's Cornellà Stadium, which is you know, European level stadium, 40,000 capacity, or even Barcelona. But they want to play in Girona, so we'll see how that happens. So yeah, still plenty of questions to decide regarding how they compete in the Champions League, and if they compete in the Champions League.
It's amazing, the story. Thank you very much. Appreciate that, Sam. It's a bit like Halifax getting into the Champions League or something like that. It's amazing. I mean, this is a place that they're speaking briefly. They're in one of the biggest cities in Catalonia. This is a place that is better known for the airport that Ryanair fly to outside Barcelona, and where they shot Game of Thrones. I mean, their football club only, I mean, they're 1999, they were in the 5th tier.
Yeah.
And all of their seasons are 4th, 5th, 3rd tier pretty much up until the last 10, 15 years.
No, absolutely, and the job that Michel's done as well, you know, he took over when they were in the Segunda division, and after a few weeks that they were still in the relegation zone, and apparently the owner group said, do you know what, we've looked at the data, keep doing what you're doing, we believe it will come good. Boy, has it come good.
Boy, has it come good. How's it going to come good for Crawley Town? Their game has been called off today. They were supposed to play in the League 2 playoffs against Milton Keynes Dons at 3 o'clock live on talkSPORT 2. That's been scratched. They will now play.
First leg will now be tomorrow, live on the talkSPORT app, and the second leg will be Saturday, 7:45, live on talkSPORT 2.
Does that affect you, Cookie?
I'm now doing both games.
You're doing both?
Okay, all right. Bless you. Picked up an extra commentary. This is great for you.
Makes the prep a lot easier when you do both legs.
Yeah,
Although I might need to call in a Minto favour on that one.
He always does. He always does. Cookie, call in the favour. No, that never happens. Okay, so that's tomorrow night, live on talkSPORT app, and then live on talkSPORT 2, Saturday night, 7:45, the second leg. Correct.
Still waiting for that pint as the thank you for last month, but I'm sure you'll
We've been waiting a long time, mate. Don't worry about that.
I bought you a bottle of water last time.
Thank you. You're listening to White and Jordan on talkSPORT with Selco Builders Warehouse. It's where the trade go.
White and Jordan on talkSPORT with Selco Builders Warehouse. With the Selco app, it's now even easier to buy from Selco. Download it for free from the App Store today.
It's time to stop spinning. Feel those dials turn down and off. So when the grid is busy, relying on fossil fuels, you're a washing machine, drifting into a power nap. Want help shifting your energy to greener times? OVO's Alexa skill can help. Just say, Alexa, open OVO Power Nap.
TK Maxx are here to shake up your summer plans with headline-making, crowd-pleasing festival tickets exclusive to treasure customers. You and 3 friends could be on your way to TK Maxx Presents Scarborough Open Air Theatre. Join our Treasure Rewards programme. Shop with your treasure cards at TK Maxx, HomeSense or tkmaxx.com and you could be a winner. There's no summer like a TK Maxx summer. T's and C's at tkmaxx.com/festival10s.
Hey, you looking for car parts at unbelievable prices? Here at You Pull It, the region's pull your own parts breakers yard, we've got them in the thousands. Headlamps at 28 quid, alloys 30 and batteries 15. A whole engine for just £154. With over 3,000 cars on the ground and new in every day, we've got the parts you need at prices you won't believe. Plus, we also buy scrap cars. You pull, you save. YouPullIt.co.uk. Prices may vary, terms and conditions apply.
Plus, on Big Mac, quarter pounder and double cheeseburger, participating restaurants only. 19th of May, top of line.
It's time to spring into makeover mode with the Oak Furniture Land Bank Holiday Sale, where you can save on every range. Save on a luxurious bed for waking up ready to seize brighter days, a stylish sofa to sprawl on once the garden's prepped for summer, or a stunning dining table and chairs for entertaining the night away. And right now, enjoy 3 years interest-free credit and no deposit to pay from just $4.99. The Oak Furniture Land Bank Holiday Sale ends Monday. Finance T's and C's apply. Oak Furniture Land is a credit broker, not a lender.
Woohoo! Dave's finally landed. Holiday mode activated when he remembers.
Oh, forgot to send that email.
Luckily, Dave has swapped out his sports package for data roaming. So he can get back to his holiday.
Lovely.
Dave, you did put your out of office on, didn't you? Get inclusive extras as part of your plan, which you can swap monthly. So you can switch from your sports package to Aroma Broadpass. Search EE Mobile.
Available with all-rounder and full works plans. Terms apply.
Keep things smooth by making the move to Universal Credit. It won't be automatic, so look out for your letter telling you what you need to do and when. Ignoring it could even stop your payments. But don't worry, there's loads of support available, like a dedicated phone line, independent advice, and financial protection to help with your move. To find out more, visit gov.uk/UCMove. Eligibility criteria apply.
talkSPORT Traffic and Travel with My Dear Cooling and Heating. Find an easier route to win air conditioning split system projects with My Dear. Win more, earn faster. That's the My Dear idea.
On the M62 in Cheshire, there's a lane closed where the vehicle caught fire on the eastbound exit at junction 10. for the southbound M6 at the Croft interchange causing delays. In Norfolk, the A11 is partly blocked southbound towards the A134 at Thetford causing queues. In East Sussex, the A21 is closed each way between the Cripps Corner turn-off and the Johns Cross roundabout after an accident this morning causing queues. And also in East Sussex, the A21 is closed southbound along London Road at St Leonard's on Sea for emergency repairs. Russell Holding. Ready for
Chaos 75 on talkSPORT 2.
Brilliant goal. Peterborough United versus Oxford United.
Coverage from 7. Kick-off 8 p.m.
Oh, what a move.
Maximise your midweek.
Wednesday night on talkSPORT 2. Commotion and pies.
Work is going to begin on ripping up the 4G service at Hayes Lane. Where is Hayes Lane, I hear you ask? Well, let me tell you.
I know where.
It's the first place I ever did a commentary back in the day. When I was a kid, I was working at Orpington Hospital Radio, and I was desperate to start doing some commentary, and they allowed me to go to Bromley FC to go and do commentary on their games, and I've got to be honest with you, it was a great experience. And yesterday, I took great delight in seeing Bromley get promoted to the Football League for the first time. So Hayes Lane is going to be a league ground for the first time in 132 years of history.
I live in Orpington.
Yes,
went to school in Biggin Hill, and we played.
No, it's not, this is your life, mate. We're just congratulating Bromley.
No. It was the first game, first pitch that we played in the District Cup final, and ever then it was like just keep an eye on Bromley. So well done to Andy Woodman. I know he was on with Jeff and Andy.
He was. Alan Pardew was in the studio yesterday, and he's a big fan, big friends with Andy Woodman, who there were with Palace. He was actually his goalkeeping coach at Newcastle United, and he was jumping around like a lunatic in here yesterday afternoon because he was so delighted with Bromley's success. It was a long playoff final. It went really deep, and actually the penalty shootout, everyone was absolutely cream crackered. It was wonderful though to see Byron Webster step up and take that penalty.
He took it brilliantly under pressure. And am I right in thinking that he was in the Yeovil team that got promoted to the Championship?
I think it's his third trip to Wembley. He's never lost, I think, something like that. He's got a great record.
He took it with such confidence. It's a great story, isn't it? Because there's a lot of money in the National League, and they're not one of the best back clubs, so fantastic.
Well, you say that the pitch is going to be ripped up, which actually has a bit of an issue with certain community stuff, so I think there might be some land behind the pitch where they might look to lay the 4G and still keep that community stuff going.
The 14th biggest budget in the league or something like that. I think it's a great job to get up and manage to do that. It's pretty damn impressive. So well done to them. So and they got great support yesterday. 15,000 were at Wembley. Are you right? Do you want to leave?
I'm struggling there.
Out of all of the people I was expecting to cough themselves to death today, it wasn't him.
And look at you.
Look at me. I'm just sitting here talking.
Too much time with you, Alec.
Actually, I'm slightly worried. He's gone bright red. He's going blue.
Have we got medical? Actually, I did a CPR thing a couple of weeks ago. So just
you might need to use it.
I'm not giving you a kiss
Just
of
a glass of water would suffice. You
sure you're okay?
Yes, please.
Okay, quick. Help him out, quick. Have you just got a text message saying that Eric Ten Hag's going to stay?
Carry on, nothing to see here.
Oh, this is the best YouTube moment ever.
Joe, can we keep an eye on him, please?
This will be clipped up and sent out. They'll be going viral. Oh,
it did go very red at one point.
I actually started to get.
Now he's back to normal colour.
What's going on over there?
That red again after Portugal.
This is such a picture of health. You always expect him to be in tip-top shape.
He's lost a bit of weight.
Thanks, mate.
And he's had a haircut.
That's where the weight's come from.
We're going to speak to Chris Powell as well. He's been on a journey, hasn't he, this season? He's been part of the Sheffield Wednesday coaching staff. They stayed up over the weekend as well. I'm sure he's been celebrating and enjoying what was a brilliant turnaround, really. Danny Rowe, he is revered at Hillsborough.
Listen, I got in touch with Powley last night. I saw him see the text but didn't get back, so I knew he was still on it. He's texted back at 7:30 this morning, can we make it as late as possible? So about 12:30, he said, yeah.
So we'll do that very shortly here on talkSPORT. You're listening to White and Jordan with talkSPORT with Selco Builders Warehouse. It's where the trade go.
White and Jordan on talkSPORT with Selco Builders Warehouse. Order online for free delivery at selcobw.com.
It's time to stop spinning. Feel those dials turn down and off. So when the grid is busy, relying on fossil fuels, you're a washing machine drifting into a power nap. Want help shifting your energy to greener times? OVO's Alexa skill can help. Just say, Alexa, open OVO power nap.
On.com, we've got it.
Catch something big at your local Admiral Slots Casino, because Big Bass Bonanza can now be played on the high street. Ditch your phone's small screen and bad internet connection and upgrade your gaming experience at Admiral Slots today. Hook some big free spin bonuses and play for up to £500 jackpot at your nearest Admiral Slots Casino. If you're ready to play, spin safe at Admiral Slots, where our friendly team are on hand to help you play responsibly and stay within your limits. Visit admiralslots.co.uk for more. Over 18s only. Please gamble responsibly.
It's time to spring into makeover mode with the Oak Furnitureland Bank Holiday Sale, where you can save on every range. Save on a luxurious bed for waking up ready to seize brighter days, a stylish sofa to sprawl on once the garden's prepped for summer, or a stunning dining table and chairs for entertaining the night away. And right now, enjoy 3 years interest-free credit and no deposit to pay from just $4.99. The Oak Furnitureland Bank Holiday Sale ends Monday. Finance T's and C's apply. Oak Furnitureland is a credit broker, not a lender.
With so many holiday homes on Booking.com, there are so many different me's I could be. I could book a beach house in Cornwall and be relaxed me. I could book an apartment in Paris for cultured me. I could book a villa in Tuscany and be foodie me. Needs a holiday me loves all those me's. Book whoever you want to be. Booking.com. Booking.yeah.
Why do I race for life? For my biggest cheerleader, the best strawberry pancake maker, my fave hair braider and matching PJ buddy. The most forgetful person I know, but the one who makes me feel so happy and calm. She ran with me in her tummy, with me in the pushchair, and now with me by her side. My mom's name is Crystal, and I'm racing for her.
No matter how cancer affects us, life is worth racing for. Sign up to your local event at raceforlife.org in partnership with headline sponsor Standard Life.
What do you call a cowboy covered in soil? The Lone Ranger. Jokes aside, if you need to lay a good-looking, lightweight, aggressively rooting, low-maintenance lawn in a hurry, Juicing can deliver Housestone turf to you on-site in just 3 days. Start it off right with Housestone blended loam peat-free topsoil, and you're looking at one luscious lawn that'll be the envy of your competition. Just don't go starting any turf wars. Want more stock, more value and more inspiration? Search Juicing Landscaping. Juicing, everything landscaping, all in one place. Terms and conditions apply.
Hear the biggest sports stories first and fast with the Back Page Review on talkSPORT with Tesco Mobile for Business. Listen to talkSPORT Breakfast every weekday morning from 6 for the latest breaking Back Page news, plus unbeatable reaction, opinion and comment. The Back Page Review on talkSPORT with Tesco Mobile for Business. Join Tesco Mobile and get business phone bills for up to 40% less than the big mobile networks. Tesco Mobile, everything helps. For applicable terms and verification, see tescomobile.com/business.
On 1089 and 1053 medium wave. On your mobile, an audible smart speaker. talkSPORT. talkSPORT News.
Good afternoon, I'm Max Scott here with your news headlines. John Swinney's been confirmed as the new First Minister of Scotland. He went unchallenged in the race to succeed the outgoing Hunter Yousaf, who resigned as SNP leader last week. After disappointing results at the local elections, Rishi Sunak wants unity in the Conservative Party. The PM reckons the next general election will bring a hung parliament, but Labour want him to call a national vote now for the public to have their say. And 4 men have been charged after half a tonne of cocaine was found in a van in an East Yorkshire pub car park. It has a potential street value of £40 million. All 4 have been charged with the importation of Class A drugs.
talkSPORT with Bostik. If you need a professional grade sealant with high mold resistance, easy tooling and minimal shrinkage, choose Bostik Pro Sealants.
talkSPORT understands West Ham have a verbal agreement in place with Julian Lopetegui, and Jadon Sancho's got zero interest in rejoining United. I'll have more on that at 1.
talkSPORT Drive this afternoon from 4 on talkSPORT with me, Darren Bent, and Andy Goldstein. Unrivaled, opinionated comment from the biggest names in sport.
Insane acceleration, outstanding pace, next generation slipstream sport.
High performance afternoon radio with more goal talk to the gallon. Belt up and listen. talkSPORT Drive with Andy Goldstein and Darren Bent. This afternoon from 4 on talkSPORT. The fastest football on the way home.
I remember going to Sheffield Wednesday to Hillsborough on the first day of the season. There was so much turmoil there over the course of the summer. It was an amazing turn of events. Actually, Darren Moore took them up last season in the playoffs. Was there that day as well to see that last-minute goal from Josh Windass, and then did the opening day of the season against Southampton. Southampton had 956 passes or something like that during that game, and they were definitely behind the 8 ball. It actually took them to the 85th minute to win the match, but it went downhill very quickly for Cisco Munoz and Danny Roll, who ended up coming into the club eventually. I mean, he did a fantastic job. They lost 3 of their final 14 matches, only 3 of their final 14 matches. Ended up finishing just 3 points behind Sunderland, whose season imploded the moment they dismissed Tony Mowbray in the autumn. At one stage, they lost. They looked destined for League One, didn't they? They picked up just 3 points from their opening 13 matches of the season, and no Championship side has ever survived from such a position. But they have. They did it. And I'm delighted to say that their assistant manager, Chris Powell, joins us on the line now. Hi, Chris.
Afternoon, guys.
Afternoon,
Howdy.
Everything okay? How the Celts have been taken?
Let me tell you, we had a very good journey home, and Saturday night was actually pretty good. We met back at the ground, all family and friends. The club laid on a few drinks and food at the stadium, and then Danny said all season, if we stay up, we'll go to the local German beer keller in Sheffield. I've got to tell you, I think I was the oldest man in there, and I was half expecting to see my son and daughter in their 20s in there. I didn't stay long, but you know, Danny doesn't drink, so he had an apple juice as he normally does, and yeah, I had a few beers, but I left pretty early. We left quite early. We left a lot of staff and players in their tracksuits in there, and Danny's now back in Germany with his young family, but we certainly celebrated, and we needed to, because I know we should celebrate staying up, but you alluded to it at the start. The position we were in, not only when we first came in, but actually during the time we were there, with regards to winning one game in our first 19 matches. And we've lost 23 of 46. I mean, really, you shouldn't have a hope in hell of staying up. But the belief from him, especially, that you know, he's a believer, he's a young, fearless manager who always believed that it would happen. But I've got to tell you, there was a few times this season myself where there was a few games we lost where I thought, I'm not sure we're ever going to make this. You know, because whatever we did, winning games and losing a few games, we never got out the bottom 3. So no matter what we were doing, we just couldn't shift out the bottom 3. And it was only Blackburn, 3 games to go, that we actually got out. And for the mentality of everyone connected with the club, that actually felt a real endearing moment for us, that we were out the bottom 3 and stayed out.
Just absolutely incredible, as you say, in the bottom 3 for 8 months. So during those dark days then, you know, what you can tell us now, off the record, what were you and sort of Danny saying in terms of how you can, was it tactical or was it more psychological for the players you had to work on?
It's a bit of both. I mean, he's a very tactical manager, very bright. I mean, I would say to you, all the staff, you know, Henry Edison came in, very tactical coach that he knows from his Rebel days. Sasha Lanshu worked at Man U briefly with Ralph Ragnick. He's a bit of a mentor for Danny, he's a psychologist. And then you've got Neil Thompson, myself and Sal Bibbo who've worked here. So there was a good balance. He was very big on the tactical stuff. He's a former analyst, so from an analytical point of view, he would see a lot of things in games that even myself and Neil and the other staff wouldn't see. And then he would relay that to the players. We would put it out on the pitch, not only in 11v11s, but also the sort of smaller possessions of the passing practices, etc. So there was a lot of things going on, but I've got to say to you, Scott, that there were times, I remember we lost to Millwall, 4-0 at home, and I sat up in the stands, the only time I sat up in the stand, and I felt we just weren't connecting with the players, we weren't connecting with the fans. But we always felt that if we could just get the fans to believe in what we were doing, and Danny was very integral in that because he's quite fearless. He didn't see that, you know, we were a bottom three team. He didn't see it. He just felt that there was enough here to get out of the bottom three. And I think the big moment for a lot of the fans were winning away at Stoke last minute, being QPR at home last minute. All of a sudden there was a slight belief that we could win games, but we knew it was going to be a tug-of-war. And we kind of dismissed blindly. You know, you don't look at the games against Ipswich and Southampton. You look at the games against the teams in and around you. And we lost heavily against Southampton. We lost heavily against Ipswich. But even coming back, we felt they weren't the games that were going to affect us. But we lost to Huddersfield 4-0. 16 games to go. We lost 4-0. And I think that was the lowest moment for every single one of us. We got back to the training ground after the game. We sat there for an hour at start. And we kind of said, if that's the lowest point, we can't go any lower than that. We have to find a way of making sure that these players and these supporters believe in us. And they certainly did. And I think Danny was very clever in his press conferences, but also, you know, we played a part in it with making sure that the players, even from those dark results, that they knew they could win football matches.
Obviously, you're a very experienced coach and you've been around the game for a very long time. Danny's only 35 years of age. He's obviously been taken to the hearts of the Sheffield Wednesday supporters. You speak to any Sheffield Wednesday supporter and they put him up there on a pedestal. How much do you think he benefited from what is quite an experienced coaching CV? I mean, he's worked at Southampton, he worked at Leipzig, he worked at Bayern Munich, he worked with the German national team as well.
Yeah. Sam, I think what's been clever about Danny is embraced English football. He didn't realise how hectic the championship schedule would be. I've heard Kevin Hatchard say on talkSPORT about English weeks, and he started to say it to us, and I was like, Danny, what's English weeks? And in Germany and in the rest of Europe, when it's, you know, Saturday, Tuesday, they call it English weeks. It's only England do it, you know. So you finish the game on a Saturday, and you just got to part that game because in less than 72 hours, you've got another game. And he's embraced that. He's adjusted accordingly. He's listened to myself. He's listened to Neil. You know, he's been very open. And, you know, he's had to learn quickly because, you know, he's had to deal with man management. You know, in Germany, a lot of the time there's sporting directors that deal with a lot of those off the field things. We've had players who've been playing and trying for the club out of contract. I mean, Scott will tell you how hard that is, that players are half thinking, well, am I going to be here next year or not? But we're asking them to go out and win football matches. So a lot of credit's got to go to those players that put that to one side and actually said, you know, we can actually do this. And there's been some harsh words amongst the staff, there's been some harsh and emotional talks with the players, but they've embraced it. And we kept saying to them, imagine doing this, because you'll be remembered for a long, long time that you were the side and you were the group of players that everyone wrote off, but actually you've achieved something that no other teams achieved. And that's been a big thing for me, that these players have achieved something. Okay, there's not a trophy, there's nothing like that, but actually the hard work they put in last year and achieved it in, I mean, one miracle last year with regards to their playoff semi-final and the final, but then achieved virtually another miracle this year.
What about next season, Chris? What does the future hold for Sheffield Wednesday? What do you need to do, do you think, to tap into the positive momentum that you had at the end of the season to make sure that you're well clear of a relegation battle next time around? Because you look at Portsmouth and Derby coming up from League One, that they're going to be competitive. It's going to be a difficult season again.
Well, we all know the championship will be because, you know, three of Leeds, Southampton, West Bromwich Albion and Norwich will be in the league again. We know Sheffield United are coming down. the city is happy about that. The Blue Heart, because there hasn't been the Sheffield Derby for 7 years. And we know, the team coming down from the Premier League, they're going to have a little bit of stability, definitely money. It's going to be hard for us again, we understand that, but Danny is very positive in his outlook. He wants us to, think forward like he has done all year. And we've got to make sure that we have a group that is ready for what is going to be yet another test of our resolve, another test of our coaching acumen. But one thing for sure, and I've got to tell you guys, this club's got under my skin. I think the fans will know I've celebrated as hard as them in game, because the support is second to none. I mean, it is quite incredible, home and away, what our supporters have been like, and they backed us, and they'll back us again next year, and hopefully we can, add to some good players that we already have, to really make a real good go of it next year.
Chris, has the future been sorted then for you and Danny? I mean, Danny's come out and said he knows exactly what he feels the club needs, so therefore the onus is on the owner now, isn't it? It's a big time, which obviously he's had problems himself with the fans. He's got a real chance to back Danny and you, of course, to get the fans back on side. And what is the potential? You've spoken a little bit about the club. If recruitment is sorted, could you even be trying to chase promotion next season?
You're not going to get me.
But what's the? We know the potential in terms of the size of the club.
Yeah.
Will he be backed because he knows what